It's the cold hard truth. Everyone really want to know what's going on with her show. Just get on the air and you will know it's Sandra. The queen of the mile road is here, helping people from everywhere. Get on the phone and you will hear Sandra. Now she will tell you how it goes, but don't you ever step on her toes, 'cause you will hear the cold hard truth from Sandra. They say she's the hero in town, helping people from all around. You get a call, your money is found, it's Sandra. Some will call her late at night just to say that there is a fight. And she will not just leave it alone. She'll get up and call on the phone. And when politics starts on her show, everyone really wants to know the way the things will really go with Sandra. And some will start to criticize, get on the show and tell pure lies, but someday we'll realize it's Sandra. And when they start to argue again, she'll pull the heads to the wind, and soon you will be a friend of Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone wants to hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone wants to hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone got to hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone got to hear from Sandra.
Hee-haw! Good morning, good morning, good morning, Cayman. Happy Friday. How is everybody doing? It's a beautiful day in paradise. What do we have to complain about? I see nothing but clear skies ahead. Give me a minute and I will have Instagram up. Okay. All right, so give me one quick minute. I'm just going to play a little bit of music here while I do some stuff in the background. All right. Good morning. Good morning again. My apologies. We just needed to do a few things here on the back end, but I think we're all good to go this morning. Hope that everybody's having a good Friday. And we're rolling into a holiday. So don't forget that Monday is Remembrance Day. And of course, we hope that all of you remember the reason why we take a holiday off and we acknowledge those who have fought to keep not just the Cayman Islands a free place, but the rest of the world as well. So there's so much going on around the world these days that really makes you appreciate more and more the freedoms that we enjoy that we oftentimes forget about. There's something to be said for sometimes you don't understand what you have until it's gone, and that certainly includes a lot of freedoms, freedom of speech, freedom of movement, just the ability to be able to walk freely without someone grabbing you off the streets that's masked up. These are the things that are happening right now. And I don't mean in some dark corners of the world, right in the United States of America. So thank God that we live in a country that is absolutely amazing. And we don't have those worries. If you're on the right side of the law, those types of things should not be happening. So good morning to Marshall. So good to see you joining us from North Carolina. Good morning, Strong Wilt. Irvelin, good morning. And I want to also acknowledge that I'm aware of some issues with our website. I'm on with tech support as we speak, messaging them right now to tell them, get yourselves together, tech support, because this time around, the level of support that I'm getting is not impressive. And, I don't tolerate, I'm going to give you all a joke. I'm not like some government agencies that tolerate inefficiencies. I will cut you so fast, cut you as in cut you off, and get a new company. So get it together. Get it together. Honey chill. So I just sent them a very stern message saying, listen, I was on with support yesterday. They came up with some stories. My tech guy, who's very, very good. I mean, he's got years of experience and he's got all kind of tools. He said what they're claiming is the issue is not the issue. So I said, what was even more disappointing is when you elevated it to advanced support. Advanced support came back asking me questions like they had no clue what the issue was and what I was talking about. And I'm thinking, why did I waste all of my time talking to your support team and having them log it in the system, logging every single message and everything, and they even send me a transcript, and yet you reach out to me talking about what's the problem, what's your domain? I'm like, really, dude? Somebody needs to be fired over there. Anyway, I am on top of it, and I'm aware. So those of you who may think I'm not aware, I'm fully aware of exactly what's going on, and somebody's about to get fired. All right. On that note, happy Friday. Buenos dias, Can. Buenos dias. Jennifer, happy Friday to you. Hey, Steven, I've not seen you in a hot minute. How's the UK treating you, honey chow? Just this morning, I was, yeah, you see, now this person telling me something else. So, yeah. So I was going to say that I haven't seen Stephen in a good minute, but just this morning I was talking about the fact that we have, people in the UK who are trying desperately to come back home, and their desire to come back home is trying to let me just put it this way. Good morning, Caymanians. When you decide to go abroad and live your best life, and you love to get on social media, and you love to talk about how wonderful life is. Um, all these wonderful things. Oh, it's so cheap in the UK and I get government housing and da 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 da. And then after a hot minute, you realize that, yeah, there are checks and balances over there as well. It's not a completely free ride. And, they're getting sick and tired of people coming there and freeloading, including Caymanians. And so they are also putting some protocols in place in order to curtail abuses. And, I feel so ashamed. I got to tell you the truth. I feel really ashamed to know that Caymanians would even do that because we don't have that kind of a reputation. But, the new fandangling, when I say new Caymanians, I'm not talking about people who just got sated. I'm talking about a lot of our own people who have this attitude, and a lot of them have always had it, that the world owes them something. And so they always beggy. We got enough of them around, yeah, trust me. And so now they're going to the UK and they're an embarrassment. And here's the crazy part. They realize that things in the UK are not a complete free-for-all, right? And so once they realize that, they then try to scoot back this way, or they try to run to the US. Then that's not working out for them. Then they're trying to run back to the UK. So someone was sending me some messages yesterday. Where's all this coming from? You saw the video that I posted online of the man breaking into a store there on Smith Road. And, he's helping himself to people's hard earnings, their supply. I guess he was desperate for some liquor because it's a liquor store. So, so there he is busting into the place uninvited and, stealing stuff from people. Now, this is just absolutely ridiculous and wrong. So the crazy part about it is that, quite frankly, I am disappointed to learn, okay, this is Salita's brother, and the whole family sounds like they're a hot mess. So someone sent me the whole 411. You know how Caymanians are, honey child. They know more about your business than you know about your business. So they sent me the whole 411 about, the mother's in New York living in, some rat-infested room for $700, and she's refusing to pay that. So now she's trying to get back to the UK, but she's begging people $10,000 that she needs to get back to the UK. And I'm like, $10,000? I mean, I know tickets can be expensive, but they're not that expensive. Oh, no. That's not what it is. She wants people to help her ship all of her stuff back. And because she hasn't been able to afford it, it's sitting in some storage unit accruing fees. Now, y'all have got to know that when I hear stories like this, Auntie's going to be giving you the side eye. I'm just like, what are you saying to me? Say what? Uh-huh. Okay. Make this make sense? Okay. Oh, wow. So we need to get it together. We need to sort ourselves out. We need to understand that the UK government isn't a free-for-all, just like the Cayman Islands government is not a free-for-all. So what else? If you can't be somewhat self-sufficient, help yourself, and to think that people are living their entire lives like this, they don't really improve, they don't really get any better. They have this concept that the system is meant to assist them along the way. Well, it's meant to assist you, but it's not meant for you to live off of the system. And you can't expect that your entire life is going to be one big, somebody owes me along the way until you're 80 years old and you finally pass away. Yeah, Irvlin, this is what's going on out there. This is what Caymanians are getting into. Oh my gosh. It's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. So, we've identified who he is. So hopefully the authorities can make the necessary arrest. Hopefully the authorities can make the necessary arrests and deal with him accordingly. So breaking and entering, I understand that he must have issues with drugs. And so he continues to be a menace to especially businesses in the surrounding Georgetown area. We also had a little bit of bad news this morning. There is a passenger on the Cayman Airways flight that was headed to Miami, KX. I think normally that's 102. But unfortunately, the person had a stroke this morning. So the flight has been delayed. In case you're expecting anyone on the other end, the flight has been delayed and they will not be leaving on time. I don't know if they've resolved it quite yet, but they took everybody off the plane. And luckily for him, as much as you can say this was lucky, he had the incident while the plane was still on the ground, because I think it would be a very, very different outcome if he was actually in the air. So, it's so yeah. So I think that ultimately he was fortunate to have his a little bit more. He was fortunate to have been on the ground still, and apparently his friend or somebody sitting next to him noticed that he was having an episode. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, we were literally just discussing this with Health City Cayman Islands the other day for stroke awareness. And so it's just like, wow. So, I'm hoping he'll be okay. And if we get any further updates, we will certainly let you guys know. Yeah. All right. So we'll keep you guys tuned in there. But again, we have received word that we have received word that someone was having a stroke on the flight this morning, and they needed to take him off. Okay. All right. All right. Miss Evelyn says, call Miss Shelma to see if she's okay. It wasn't a female, so I'm sure Miss Shelma is just perfectly fine. Good morning, Michelle. Barbara says, I'm right here with you too. I'm embarrassed that our people have lost the pride and self-respect that we were shown for. A help out is one thing, but draining our country is another thing. Yes. Oh, what? You can't, Irvin, you can't say those things online and not tell me any details of what you're talking about. It's probably better to send me a private message, because then I'm reading these messages, not even knowing out loud what it is you're talking about. So how about a DM? That might be the best way to give me bad news, not literally in the chat, and I still don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Okay. All right, folks. We do have the minister who's going to be joining us here in a little bit as well. We're going to talk about the budget yesterday, in case you missed that segment, and kind of what transpired. But yes, if something's going on with one of our usual family members here, you need to message me and let me know. Okay. All right, let me just see. So we're hoping that that passenger is fine. Like I said, as soon as we know more details, we will certainly update all of you. But yeah, these things are tough. But thank you to the other passenger. Like I said, I'm not sure if it was his friend or just someone there. One of the other passengers said his friend, so it looks like they probably knew each other, but his friend noticed it and flagged it. Wow. This is so important because once again, noticing the signs of a stroke can save someone's life. So when you travel with people, by all means, please, pay attention to what's happening, because again, these are the types of things that can be absolutely life-saving. So I'm in awe that his friend actually caught that. And yeah, let's do a quick little message from Health City. Forgive me, that's the wrong one. I was looking for the other video. 1 second here. Yes, this is all about rapid response, folks, especially when it comes to strokes, can really save lives.
What's your emergency?
All right, folks. So it's all about rapid response. The quicker that you, get someone assistance when they're having a stroke, in particular, stroke or coronary heart attacks, then the quicker they can get to the hospital, and the sooner they are able to get the assistance that they need. Thank you, Miss Gladys, joining us from Long Island, New York? How are you? So good to see you. Wonderful. All right. Yes. Okay. All right. So I saw your message. Thank you so much, Irvlyn. I'm really sad about that. Sometimes we don't need to call people publicly on radio when they're having a tragic event. So I will call her off air after the program, I think, is over. So, yep. All right. So thank you guys so much for that. Some messages coming in here this morning. Yeah. Okay. Very, very good. Okay. Right. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. All right. Okay. All righty. Wow, these tech people. I'm sitting here reading these messages and just kind of shaking my head. Oops. Okay. What a hot mess. All right, 936-2626. The phone lines are open. In the event that you missed the In the event that you miss the video yesterday, by all means, we can have a look at that. My goodness, these people are driving me crazy this morning. Okay. Yeah. Woo, it's like war of the texts at the moment. You know, when one person tells you something and then another person's like, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. That's what's happening in real time. And I'm just sitting here shaking my head. Like, I do not have the time or desire to deal with either of them, to be quite frankly. I just need a resolution. Yeah. Okay, so just a reminder that Pirates Week is coming up. Thank you so much. Someone just sent the one for Northside Heritage Day. We'll certainly post that up for you a bit later on. All of the various districts are actively, getting ready, and of course, the overall Ministry of Youth, Sports, Heritage, and Culture are also getting ready for the big launch event this weekend. So, get ready for that. If you enjoy Pirates Week and all the Heritage Days, there will be more than enough fun activities for you to get involved in. All right. And as we're waiting on the ministerial team, let me just go ahead, or the minister rather, let me just go ahead and give you a few other bits of news that is happening. So an important sentencing is happening today. So our team is definitely keeping an eye on that situation. And in fact, we were contacted by an overseas entity that wanted to let us know that it was happening today because they needed to be able to be there in person. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that. The other thing is the Cayman Islands Blood Bank has a really, really important message. So let's have a listen to this today.
Cayman Islands CI Blood Bank advises that it is placing a temporary pause on all donations in light of the impressive public response to appeals to assist Jamaica's recovery following Hurricane Melissa. The pause will allow the department to process existing supplies and ensure all donations are used efficiently and safely. Donations are expected to resume in the coming weeks, and the public will be notified once collections have resumed. The CI Blood Bank thanks all donors for their compassion and solidarity and continued commitment to saving lives across the region.
All right, so they've had an amazing response. So I guess they don't have any further storage, is what I'm hearing that say. And blood has to. I'm assuming it has a shelf life, which makes logical sense. So do not give any more blood at this time. At least not to the blood bank. I don't know if any other hospitals are in need of anything. It would be good. I wonder if the blood bank checks with other hospitals when they send out these types of messages, because they might say that and then other hospitals are in need. I don't know. I mean, do they go to the blood bank first? Yeah, I don't know. But in any event, they have said that they don't need any more. The response has been really, really overwhelming in our attempts to help Jamaica. And once again, Jamaica is suffering. Of course, they are our closest neighbors, our cousins. But I also want to acknowledge that the people in the Philippines are having a very, very difficult time, as the death toll there has now climbed. The latest report I saw last night was to over 200 persons now deceased. So, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that. They're in Cebu, I guess that's a city. It has just been devastating there for them. So, and I think that they were about to get hit, like another part of the Philippines was about to get hit by yet another storm. So their country, their president has declared a state of emergency, and the extreme flooding has really, destroyed that lots of areas there of that city. Again, the death toll has risen to at least Cebu is an island. Thank you so much. I know the Philippines are made up of a lot of islands, but there you go. Yes. And then they even had an army helicopter that was trying to, I think, do some reconnaissance. They were a rescue helicopter. They actually crashed as well while on a typhoon relief mission. All 6 crew members unfortunately perished. So they were trying to help victims. And unfortunately, the conditions just were not conducive. And, it's so interesting when I saw that story, because I thought to myself, just the other day, in Jamaica, you had the day after the storm, the helicopter tried to go up. I think it was also their military helicopter. And they had some messaging around the fact that they just couldn't stay up for long. There was no place to land because people were like, oh, why isn't the prime minister coming to this area? And there was like literally nowhere for them to land. Like, you can't just take a helicopter and have it suspended in midair, right? So, you can only do what's possible. So it wasn't possible, and they had to do so because then you're endangering the lives of your rescue team, which you need them, and others. So at this particular time, it was interesting to see that they could not do that. So listen, every single time you think someone is like you've got it bad, I hate to tell you, but a lot of times other people have it far worse than you do. So state of emergency has been declared in the Philippines, as the number of people who have passed away has gone up significantly. So our thoughts and prayers go out to the Filipino community, because I think Cebu is one of it's the region's most populous island, is what I read here. And so, of course, I'm sure there are people here in the Cayman Islands who have family members who have been impacted by the storm. And the pictures are just absolutely shockingly horrific. There's one that's saying that it raises questions, my apologies, about disaster readiness. And we all now have to be ready for these types of events, because they're becoming more and more powerful and more frequent as well. So just really, really sad. And, it's the same thing that I say to the people of Jamaica, that the devastation is real. We certainly, our heart goes out to you. But the truth of the matter is, it's going to simply take time. There's no quick fix to rebuilding a city when you have this level, as you can see, of devastation. I mean, look at that. It is just buildings. This is so far worse than Jamaica. In Jamaica, you can see structures like the walls and stuff, and maybe the roof is gone. But in this instance, it's just like, wow, unbelievable. So yeah, pretty unbelievable. Everything, like buildings almost look like it's just maybe the foundation that's left. If you're lucky, there was one here with like look at the wheelchair, all the cars smashed together. I don't even know how these poor people get out of their homes, but look at the wheelchair. Some special needs person, I'm sure, really needed that wheelchair. And now this is the reality that these poor people are having to live with. Look at that. Just absolute destruction. I saw an image. It was actually a video of a family having to, in real time during the storm, climb up, like push the children up in the roof to try to save them. And, this is hurricanes and typhoons are real. And this is what people are having to live with. So, really, really sad situation. So our thoughts and prayers go out to obviously Jamaica, as well as the people of the Philippines as well. All right, so we'll continue to monitor. I don't know if typhoon season is the same as hurricane season, quite frankly. So I don't know if they can now try to get some relief from this. I don't know what sort of weather conditions, like, are they kind of moving into cooler months now where they won't have these types of storms? Anybody knows much about the storm season? Does it run parallel to our Atlantic hurricane season? Let me know, because I'm kind of curious about how all of that works. But yeah, it's just quite a sad situation. So, that's trending all over the world to see people, having lost their homes. Mhm. Okay. Yeah. All right. So their president, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., has ordered the release of Philippines' $1.307 trillion in order to respond to the calamity following this horrific event. So he has declared a state of emergency, and there's another one that was out there that was headed towards, I think this one is Yuan, was also headed towards another area of the Philippines. So we will hope that that doesn't have the same sort of impact that, that the other storm did, because wow, I don't know how much more people could possibly take. Naturally, the type of structures that they have, they do have a lot of zinc roofs, and so you can see that the buildings just could not hold up for this type of natural event. And this is where, I know here in this country, we try to have pretty good building codes, and more, we've got to be trying to keep on top of the construction technology to ensure that our buildings can actually sustain category 5 plus, because now they're talking about the fact that they may even revisit the naming of these storms, the categorization, my apologies, of these storms, because category 5, they're like, they're so powerful that there technically is now a category 6. When you're over 200 miles per hour, 210, 220, that's more like what would be categorized as a category 6. So they are contemplating, all the hurricane experts and scientists are contemplating potentially adding another category to the the ranking, if you will. So it's scary. I mean, is there such a thing as you can only go so high with a storm? We've seen it gusting 220, 230. It was like, what on earth? These are things that, quite frankly, we've never seen happen before. Okay, so good morning, Miss Romelia. So good to see you. Trendsetter, how are you? Hi, Michelle. Sherry Ann is with us. Hairstyle Scott says, good morning, Miss Sandra. Bus drivers need to find out why we can't go to the airport to pick up our family. You might have to elaborate a little bit on that front. What do you mean you can't go to the airport to pick up your family? I'm not quite sure I understand what's going on. Good morning, Mark, joining us from Australia. Hey, how you doing? I don't understand. So you have a bus and you're not going there. Is it because they think you're going there to pick up? Because I'm guessing that's a taxi zone only. Do they believe that you're going there to pick up passengers? And how often do you have family that comes in? Huh. I mean, obviously, you just need to show them and prove to them that you're picking up family, not passengers. I mean, I would have thought that would have been pretty easy to prove. A lot of this just comes down to communication, right? So I'm sure that there are bus drivers who would love to be able to go to the airport, but if that isn't allowed to do pickups, then it's not allowed. So all you have to do is prove that you're going to go pick up a family member. And then they'll be like, okay, you're here on a different kind of business. So I'm not really sure. You need to be a little bit more specific, perhaps. Keith says ocean temperatures, my apologies, are getting hotter. So this will cause hurricanes to become stronger. Yes. And so even that little 1 degree or half a degree, Keith, is significant. So yeah. Morning, Paul, joining us from Bermuda. You guys are good? I know you kind of got the tail end of Hurricane Melissa the other day as well. So here we are. A few of you raised some concerns yesterday about the phone call that we got regarding, the young lady called in to say, hey, is Cayman intending to do anything to assist Jamaicans in getting here a lot easier, like waiving any sort of, I guess visa requirements and stuff? I don't see the government doing that. I think that in fact that's a recipe for disaster waiting to happen. So, yeah. So anyway, yeah. So I think that, we have to be cautious. It is one thing to be sympathetic to the plight of others, and we're doing everything that we can to help. The government has committed to assisting the people of Jamaica, 1-point-something million in aid and relief, but we can't put ourselves in a worse situation than we are. We have to be very, very cautious. I mean, hurricane season isn't over, and God knows I'm not trying to put my goat mad at anybody, but it is very, very possible that we have it is very, very possible that we have that we may have another hurricane. So even when people are making comments like, oh, that's all you guys can give. Yeah, that's all we can give because we don't know what's around the corner. We don't know which hurricane might be coming our way next week or the week after. Hurricane season isn't over. Not only do you have late season storms, but you actually have storms that are out of season as well. So there is that consideration. So we have to be, extremely careful in that, we don't put ourselves in a bad situation. And quite frankly, it's the same thing with, giving out resources. We want to help, and I'm sure this government wants to help a lot more, but we have to be cautious. We've got a budget yesterday that we just saw that, there's a lot of things that are costing money in this country. And unfortunately, if we're not able to pay for those things, somebody has to pay for them. The money has to come from somewhere. So pump the brakes a little bit, right? We're not the little island. We're only 80,000 people, 30,000 Caymanians. We have to pump the brakes, and that we can only do so much without putting ourselves in quite a precarious situation. So I want to caution people, and I know people want to help. I heard the lady, and I could hear in her heart that she really means well, and she wants to help. Now, somebody made the observation. They said, but it didn't sound like she was in Cayman, because she was saying, is it still morning over there? So she could be in the UK or somewhere else and yet want to bring people here. No. Pump the brakes, honey child. We can't have an influx. Hurricane Ivan was a different situation, because she mentioned Hurricane Ivan as a good example of when people were able to come. Well, let's work this through logically. They were able to come because we needed them. I'm not trying to be selfish here, but when you need people to help your country rebuild, and they were being paid to do so, so it wasn't a charity case. It wasn't like people were coming here working for free. There was a lot of job opportunities, etc. But we've got to be careful because right now there are criminals running amok all over Jamaica. They're taking advantage of the poor people who find themselves in this situation because of this storm. And as a result of that, they are desperate. Some of the criminals are desperate to go somewhere else. So we've got to make sure that, as usual, we have all of our checks and balances in place. The visa office in Jamaica, the Cayman visa office, is fully open and operational. I have, confirmed that with them, and things are moving along. We don't want them to skirt any processes, give any special exemptions for people or anything like that just because, right? That is definitely not what we want. We want rigorous, as always, support and rigorous cross checks and balances and the whole 9 yards. It just is what it is. So, yes. So that's what it is. All right. Okay. All right. I'm just trying to see here. Thank you, Carrie. Dorothy says, in my opinion, Jamaica is getting a lot of support from all over the world. I mean, yes, the support, I think, has been amazing and it has been overwhelming. And I'm very, very pleased that the relevant agencies around the world have stepped up and are doing their part, because I think in a time like this, it is necessary. But yes, the UK has stepped up. The UN, they've got the International Red Cross, they've got Samaritan's Purse, which we saw yesterday, which is an amazing organization. They're also they've built a temporary hospital there in Black River. So the help is coming. I think people, this undoubtedly has been the biggest, to my knowledge, the biggest natural disaster that Jamaica has probably ever had. And so there is something to be said for that. People don't necessarily know how to handle this, even mentally and psychologically. But the thing that you have to know is that it's going to take time. All right. So everybody wants a quick fix. Everybody's like, oh, we want it now. We want it now. It's not going to happen now, folks. It is going to take time. And so, you gotta relax a little bit. And I know that's hard when you're in it to hear this, but the help will come. In fact, yesterday someone sent me a message of that some woman, I don't know who she is, and she was going on and on about the Prime Minister of Jamaica, basically telling him off, and I mean, I had to stop listening. And let me remind you guys, just FYI, that a lot of times when you send me these messages, if a message is in excess of 3 minutes, you're asking for a lot of my time. Okay. And so, I kind of feel like my husband, because he's always like, whenever I send him long messages, he's like, why are you sending me this message? Just pick up the phone and call me. He would rather have a conversation, but a lot of you forward these messages and, oh my gosh, they are next level crazy. So this one, about a minute in, I stopped listening because it became repetitive and the woman was just basically saying the same thing. And some people are trying to make this now about politics and cussing the Prime Minister of Jamaica and, oh, Andrew Holiness, you're not no good and this and that. Listen, no one is going to be 100% happy during a situation like this. No government will get it all right. There will be some people who are going to get up in their feelings about, how things are being handled. But I can tell you that the answer to this is not, let me repeat myself. The answer to this, folks, is not the, it's not getting online and cussing out Andrew Holiness. That is not going to help you in any way, shape, or form. Okay? So I feel like the people themselves need to relax and understand that there is a process here that has to be followed. And it's going to take time. And I get it. I get that people don't want, I guess they don't want the time. They want it now. In other words, they're very, very impatient. And that's not how it's going to happen. Areas of your country are completely cut off where people cannot even be reached. It will take time. So I think some of you need to relax a little bit. You need to, if you can help other people, that's great, because helping other people helps you to take your mind off of the travesty, right? Because you're engaged in helping others. Some people just have nothing better to do, trust me, than to sit down and lambast the government. And in a time like this, it's like all hands on deck. I don't know who this woman is, and I don't know what she was going on and on about, but what did occur to me is that as she was going on and on about cussing Andrew Holness and calling down damnation on him and calling down Obi on him and blah, 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 I was like, woman, why don't you go find something productive to do? She really sounded like, to me, someone who had way too much time on her hands. I was like, sister, I don't know who you be or who you is, but you really have way too much time on your hands. And this is what happens sometimes. She was going into stuff that had nothing to do with the hurricane and cussing this man out. And I said, listen, don't really send me these types of messages, right? Because I don't have the time to listen to 5-6 minute message, first of all. And that kind of message with all of the Omega put Obi on, yeah, and blah, blah, blah. Seriously? Instead of you trying to put Obi on people, why don't you go help take the mud out of somebody's yard and try and help fix a zinc roof or something? It's just stupidity. And so this is the part of, our cousins in Jamaica that really gets under my skin, because I'm like, this is stupidity, So ease up on yourself. Ease up on yourself. All right. Thank you so much. Live Happy says, yes, Jamaicans need to have patience and wait. That's all. And we of all people understand that it's not an easy wait. Live Happy says, the caller said he's in his 20s. Which caller? That's a strong man. Let him stay in Jamaica and help out. Oh, yesterday. Yes. We can send donations because cry is a recipe for disaster. Coming, doing nothing makes no sense. Yeah, because that was the other thing I was kind of concerned about. Like, why are you a 21-year-old? Why are you bringing him to Cayman, right? The implication in my mind was, okay, he's going to be coming on a visitor's visa to do what? To sit down and do what? The last thing you do want, I agree with Live Happy, is people who are going to be here with nothing to do and being wholly unproductive. If somebody has a job and they want to hire him, then that's a different situation. They go through the same process. That everybody, everybody has to go through in terms of a work permit and to ensure that there's an actual job here. Now, I want to warn people, because I think that sometimes people do this in disasters. All of a sudden, now we're going to see an uptick in work permits. Everybody wanting to take out a fraudulent work permit when they have no work for anyone. Please don't do that. Caymanians, especially some of you new Caymanians, I get it. You've got family members in Jamaica who are hurting because of this situation. But the worst thing you can do is make life for us here in Cayman worse. So don't bring anybody here. And enough of it's happening already. We saw immigration is investigating a number of these fraudulent work permits. We don't need an influx of people coming here on work permits. And I hope that WRC is paying very, very close attention, which I'm sure they are, to this. And any new requests or influx, y'all better be able to prove that you got money in the bank, these companies, to be able to pay people's salaries, because I am so sick and tired of people taking advantage of Caymanians, especially the work permit system. And I think that when you put in a work permit now for people, y'all better be prepared to show that you have money and funds in your account and that you can afford to pay them. And when they get here, we better see from one account to the next that they're actually getting paid. That's what we have to start doing in order to curtail some of these fraudulent companies, all of these car wash companies, lawn care companies, construction companies, a lot of them housekeepers. This is what they're doing. They're bringing people here claiming that they have work for them and they don't. It's just to be able to get them here. And then once they're here, they have to find another job kind of situation. All right, the minister's waiting. So let's go ahead and welcome. Everybody put their virtual hands together. We've got over 300 people patiently waiting for Minister Anglin this morning. So good morning, Minister. How are you?
Sandra, I'm thankful. I'm good. It's a great day to be alive.
Absolutely.
Happy Friday to you and your audience.
Yes, thank you.
We had obviously a very exciting day yesterday,
Mhm.
presenting the government's first budget.
Mhm.
I also said during the presentation, not only was it an exciting day because it was budget day, but because of the amount of effort and work that went in. The amount of
Mhm.
effort and work that went in to ensure that we not only were able to produce a balanced budget, but one that didn't have the traditional underfunded items that has been a practice for a number of years in order to quote unquote balance the budget.
Mhm. Okay, we do have a call in the line. Just grab this caller quickly. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program. Oh, hold on, Carrie. I cannot hear you. Give me 1 second here. The board. Let me see if that helps. Hello? No. Okay, let me just restart the phone. Give me 1 second to quickly restart, and we'll give you a call back. So I noticed that our phone is not connecting to the board. So we'll just do a quick restart. Yes, Minister. So this is the first budget. We're going to go through some of the details of what you covered during Parliament yesterday. But how are you feeling, generally speaking, about this budget?
But I feel extremely excited because
Mhm.
I'm confident that not only are our forecasts accurate,
Mhm.
but the services that we're going to deliver. And that's what's most important, right? A budget and governance isn't about balance sheets, surpluses, or deficits. It's about how we can positively impact lives.
Mhm.
And that is what's exciting about being in service, right? You get into politics on the basis of all of those commitments that you make to people.
Mhm.
And this budget delivers on a wide range of commitments that we collectively made during the campaign. And so that's what excites me the most, is to now get through the debate, through finance committee, and actually get to the work.
Mhm.
That's the message I sent to my colleagues, is that let's feel good about collectively getting to this point. And let me take a step back. Remember, getting to this point isn't as easy as a lot of people would think. Firstly, whilst we have a coalition agreement, and I feel good about how we work together,
Mhm.
the fact is we are not a party. This isn't like 2009 when we were able to put together a budget. Whilst we had to get UK approval, that was a difficult piece. But
Mhm.
putting the priorities together were a lot easier because we had one manifesto, right? Having a single manifesto and being able to come to the table and say, okay, this is the manifesto we ran on. Here is
Mhm.
how we're now going to allocate resources. Here's what we're going to be able to afford to fund. Here's what we're going to have to delay. Doing that in this setting where we have three independents and two different parties um, was made much easier because we were jointly committed to a number of very basic principles. The
Mhm.
first was we had to be very, very sober in our deliberations about what was affordable.
Mhm.
It's there things in this budget, are there things that's not in the budget that I just wish we could afford everything right now? Absolutely. But you
Mhm.
gotta have priorities, set those priorities, stick with the priorities, fund the priorities, and understand that as the economy grows,
Mhm.
as this budget unfolds, God spares your life, then in 2 years' time, you come and you have a lot of additional work that we're going to want to do, right?
Mhm.
Would I love to have been able to say to the Minister of Health, look, we can afford the clinic, we can afford
Mhm.
expansion at Sir John Cumber, we can afford the new police station, and that's just West Bay. Those are just critical infrastructure pieces that are needed. There's no doubt that they're not needed. The fact is, what can the country afford all at once? And once you
Mhm.
go across all districts and then overlay on that national priorities, right? East-west arterial isn't a Bordentown, a prospect. That's a national priority for us because it impacts so much for us economically. And
Mhm.
so when you have those national priorities, those are the ones that are, I think, easier to agree on because everyone understands this isn't just about our district or constituency. This is now about what's going to impact all of the Cayman Islands. And so being able to prioritize on the national priorities, but also understand that you have to intersperse a number of things that are based within a district because there are certain things that every district needs in terms of the development of the district. And that's on the capital side.
Mhm.
Then on the operating side, it is about then looking at our manifesto and saying, what were our priorities and getting back to those guiding principles. And I think we work extremely well together to be able to get to this point. And one of the guiding principles that we all agreed as we went down to Parliament with Section 12s for NGS 55, and hopefully, Sandra, by the end of this term, we will have a number of line items that the entire public will be able to go to a supermarket and people will know what it is. NGS 55 is how we fund healthcare for civil servants and those who are uninsurable or underinsured. Um, that has averaged around $53 million for the last 10 years.
Mhm.
Traditionally, though, we've only put in the budget around $18 to $20 million for that line item, knowing that you're going to have to come back and get monies for it.
Mhm.
TP 41, that's a transfer payment that we use to fund persons who need permanent or temporary financial assistance. Again,
Mhm.
a critically important line item because we have to ensure that our most vulnerable needs are met. We are going to try and ensure through the interspersing of policy in the labor and immigration that we get more and more and more Caymanians back to work. Because,
Mhm.
it's easy for people on the sidelines to say, or in a job and doing well, to say, well, what are you giving that money away? That's just giving money away. We have a lot of Caymanians who are out there hustling and trying, but for whatever reason,
Mhm.
is being shut out of the labor market. And so that's another area that has been historically underfunded because governments knew that when you went back to top up, nobody was going to argue about those. Nobody was going to argue about the amounts that we pay out to seamen and veterans. And
Mhm.
so nobody was going to argue about TP30 in my ministry, which is for scholarships. And so what happened historically was if you were in a budget crunch and you couldn't get the priorities agreed, and let's just say if you budgeted those amounts to the historic levels, you would have wound up in a deficit.
Mhm.
What happened was governments would simply say, let's just cut that funding in the budget. Because remember, budget is just a projection, right? It's a projection of how much money you're going to make and how much money you're going to spend, right? And so, yes, there are games that you can play with a budget. And we set as a guiding principle, we were not going to do that. That we were going to fund those line items to an adequate level and then do the hard work of setting real priorities and really, really holding ourselves to task. And so that, Sandra, made things a lot more difficult obviously that makes life a lot more difficult, because if you underfund an area that you know it's easy to go back and get additional approval for, then it
Mm-hmm.
makes the job much easier for me in education, for the Minister of Health, for the minister that's responsible for social services, for the minister responsible for housing. It makes it a heck of a lot easier to be able to balance the budget. But the fact is, you're not really going with a truthful or a really truly balanced budget. And so I really feel good that as a coalition, we were able to buckle down, do the hard work, produce a budget that is going to deliver results, but it's truthful, right? It's really, really good to be in this position, so that now we're not going to go to finance committee and have the opposition be able to get up and say, well, how much do you have for this? How much do you have for that? Right? There are a number of those items. Let me be clear, because we announced this from during the SPS stage. There are a number of them that we have budgeted slightly less than the historic levels. But that's because we truly believe our policies are going to work. Why would we go through real immigration reform, real labor reform, if we don't think that we're going to get more Caymanians from unemployed to employed? Because if we then funded those other services to the historic levels, to me that would be admitting defeat up front. So we are holding ourselves to the fire that we're going to have to deliver on real transformative results. I announced, for example, yesterday that in the Ministry of Economic Development, I'm going to be forming a constitutional committee, a constitutionally based committee. Under the Constitution in Section 54, a minister can create various committees, commissions. You can style it in whichever way you want legally. And I'm going to be putting together a bipartisan committee. So it's going to have government members on, but it's also going to have opposition members on. And it's going to review the health insurance market and the property insurance markets in Cayman. Cineco, which is a 100% government-owned entity, is already participating in those two markets. We need to look and be rational and real with the public about how those two industries work in Cayman. For too long, we've kicked the can down the road when it came to health insurance. We forever said insurance companies get a person when they're healthy, but when they become either terminally ill or elderly, the premiums are so exorbitant that they can't afford them, and so they have to come to government and be funded through that same line item I'm talking about, NGS 55. And so why should we, as a government, not be innovative, not have the courage to be truthful with the public and say, here is what we're going to do? We are actually going to look at those two industries and see if Cineco needs to be participating more. Look at the standard health insurance contract and put together a plan that actually has more than just what is called basic coverage. Have a reasonable level of coverage that the average Caymanian can look at and say, that's a policy that protects myself and my children. Do that. Have the actuaries work with the committee and cost that out, and look on and determine how that market in particular, should work. Now, Sandra, for those who know me and have followed me politically, they will know that that's a real 180 from how I would have thought in the past, because I truly am a free market thinker, right? And I do believe the market forces should drive most industries, but there are a few that we need to be very, very strategic, clear, and honest with ourselves and with the public about, and one is healthcare. And so, will there be persons in the private sector who will criticize the government and criticize me for taking this approach? Sure. But I believe in my heart of hearts, in fact, I know in my heart of hearts, what we're doing is the right thing for this country. We can't continue to have this level of public expenditures spent
Mm-hmm.
while we know that the health of Caymanians, the health sector of the population, is
Mm-hmm.
causing there to be a profit being made in the private sector. And as soon as they become an unprofitable segment of the market, they then wind up on government's doorstep and we pay for them. So that is but one of the highlights that was raised yesterday. And I
Mm-hmm.
think, I know the public has had a real appetite for a number of years now to actually see government utilize all the skill sets of those elected, not just those who wind up on the government bench, not just those who wind up in the majority. And so taking a bipartisan approach, I know is the right approach because we're able to use all the talent of all those elected and we depoliticize matters that are of national importance. And healthcare and what the healthcare sector looks like is of national importance. Because Sandra, you would notice when you look at Caymanians' disposable income, the amount that the average Caymanian family has to pay in terms of their contribution for family coverage in healthcare is a significant monthly expense. And so not only are we looking at it from a budget standpoint and trying to ensure we protect the budget, i.e. the public purse, but we also understand that this could have a real positive effect when it comes to cost of living for Caymanians.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got some questions coming in from our audience. Aisle 2025 has one. Says, can you ask what the NAU/DFA budget is this year, and how many people continue to abuse assistance from the government? Sorry, not how many. So many people continue to abuse assistance from the government. I hope they plan to get that number down. So what are we looking at? And for our listeners who may not know, DFA is Department of Financial Assistance, I think is what it stands for now, but formerly NAU, which was a Needs Assistance Unit. What are we looking at in this area? Is that budget continuing to grow?
No. In fact, this is a key area that we have refused to increase the amount because, again, we believe that would be admitting defeat. So we are committed to immigration reform. We're committed to labor reform. We're committed to getting more Caymanians back to work. We're also committed to ensuring that we do a better job at the assessment level. Of course, in any country, any sort of social giving program is going to be one where you go wind up with abuse. That's just a fact. There's going to be somebody who's going to try something or just not be 100% truthful or not put in the effort and therefore just say, you know what, I'm going to try to rely on government or I'm going to rely on government. That ministry has their hands full. Let's be 100% honest, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is not an area that is easy because when a person shows up and let's say they have 2 or 3 children, and you therefore know it's a family that we're talking about, we know that saying no could cause people to be out on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Equally, we also know that there are persons who will abuse the system. And so striking that balance is where the ministry and the government has to support the department and ensure that the department is equipped to get the job done, but also that the department is able to have instances where they either say no or they reduce funding.
Mm-hmm.
The area of this that frustrates me, I can tell you frustrates the minister, the ministry, the government, all of us as Caymanians, is when we know or hear of persons who, for example, have substance abuse problems,
Mm-hmm.
wind up being recipients of financial assistance. So we don't live in this cocoon where we believe or somehow don't know that there are people who, as we would say, try a thing. So they simply say, you know what? I'm not working. I have an issue. It makes me, it causes me to not have a job right now. So let me go down and let me apply. Those are the critically important areas that we have to empower that department to insist that people have to make changes to their lives. We cannot continue to have people who, for example, have substance abuse problems, get funding from the government, yet I have young families that need more funding to assist their children with early childhood. We can't continue to have this, right? And so I say to Caymanians, if you know of abuse, report it. Because Sandra, the amount of times I hear people, oh, well, I know someone that's, and I say to them, okay, don't tell me. You don't have to come in and say it to me. Report it to the department. Have you reported it? No, they're not going to do anything about it anyway. That can't be our approach. We can't see a house burning down and say, well, we're not going to call the fire service because they're not going to come anyway. No, if you see someone commit a crime, well, I'm not going to call the police because they're not going to do anything anyway. We can't continue to have that laissez-faire approach where we just say, we're just going to kick back and let things happen. You have to have some confidence in systems. And therefore, I implore Caymanians, if you know of anyone who's abusing any of our systems, whether it be the Seamen's and Veterans program, whether it be the DFA program, whatever it is, please report it to the departments. At least clear your conscience that you know you've done your bit. Because literally a citizen can't do anything more than that, Sandra. Than report anything that they know is happening.
Okay. All right. We've got a caller on the line. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sandra, and good morning, Cousin Raleigh. How you doing from the BRAC?
Morning.
Good morning.
How are you? Can hear you
Good,
loud
how
and
are
clear
you?
now.
You hear me loud and clear? Well,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
want to say this. First of all, I'm going to give the rose. The rose is Cousin Raleigh. I went to bed last night listening to you in the parliament. And that was the first time in my 50 years of following politics from ponytails that I felt safe, secure in my country, that somebody at the helm was actually doing what was right with our money. And that was the most peaceful rest I got last night. I don't know if he can hear me saying this, but I want to thank him. Thank him very much.
Thank you very much.
You gave me comfort. And you know hard your cousin over here in a kind of goodness, because she's a big critic. But I'm not a critic of the NCFC. I can tell you right now, I am not. You guys, you're the first government that I have seen in 50 years that actually is doing what you said you were going to do. And the people are seeing results. I am so grateful for that. So you all are doing an amazing job. And I'm not just trying to put you up on a platform or a pedestal, but you deserve it, to be honest. And I want to say, yes, I agree. People need to work out their situations. I don't have a job. I have applied for many government jobs. I've not heard a response from any of them. I am not on DFA because I refuse to go and ask for any kind of assistance. No, I am still able-bodied, and I have to find a way to make a living, and I'm doing that. And Cousin Raleigh, I want you to know what they're doing your cousin over here. You might know this, but I can tell you this. You have departments in your administrative government that has taken my money and not produced licenses for me to even try do my business, keep my businesses going. I want you to know that. Ask them over there why they're not producing my licenses from the DCI. Anyways, that was basically what I wanted to say, and to thank you, because like I said, I fell asleep listening to y'all in Parliament last night, and I was very comforted to know that you guys are at the helm right now, and I'm going to praise you, and I'm going to keep praising you, and tell Peanut he needs to send me cat food from my sanctuary. Y'all have a great day.
All right. Thanks very much,
Love
Carrie.
y'all.
Thank you.
All righty.
Thank you, caller.
Um,
And Sandra,
so
that's the thing, right?
yeah.
Listen, at the end of the day, anytime government, an agency, a department is not getting the job done,
Mm-hmm.
it's important for people to speak up. I'm not going to speak to this situation in particular because I don't know the details, but
Mm-hmm.
a reference was made, right? And there are times where, for whatever reason, things don't wind up working the way they're supposed to. But this is the point that I was just making. We need to as Caymanians,
Mm-hmm.
be more proactive about these situations. Say something. We have to say something because if you don't say something, who's going to know? I don't know every citizen's particular situation.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to speak up and speak out, right? Because that's how we make the system stronger. Everybody's accountable. Every single person's accountable.
Mm-hmm. All right, we've got questions coming in fast and furious. About 350 persons now tuned in. Of course, Radio Land also listening. This question says, will this government conform and crash under the pressure of the precedent that Juliana set by gifting an honorarium to the civil servants and by extension the statutory authorities in December? If so, what will be the amount?
Sandra, I certainly have not had any discussions about an honorarium. I certainly have not heard anyone speak to any form of honorarium come December.
Mhm.
I would have to ask the deputy governor if that was something he had either budgeted for and was contemplating. But that's a question I would have to pose to him. But I certainly haven't heard it to date.
Mhm. Well, let's not even pose the question to him because we saw in the past the deputy governor somehow said he found savings, and then in retrospect, it was like, oops, maybe the savings weren't entirely there as much as we thought. So maybe we don't even ask the question and just leave it alone. Civil servants, y'all got to tighten up your belt. Like the rest of us. Mellow Fellow says, please ask the minister if there's an implied or stated moratorium on employment in the civil service. If so, what is the reason, how he thinks it might affect services? I can answer that for you because the deputy governor, the same Mr. Franz Matterson, was on here some months ago now, maybe, with Premier Honorable Andre Ebanks, and he said, yes, there is a bit of a moratorium in place, and it is there because of this overspending. And so they've had to rein things in because the question was, somebody noticed that on the website, there was a number of, a number of jobs that had disappeared, or you could see very few jobs comparatively speaking. And so the question was asked, oh, has government implemented a moratorium? And the answer was like, yes, basically. There is a bit of a hiring freeze. So impacting services, I mean, if you don't hire more people, I don't know, are we expecting any impact on services, Minister Anglin?
So Sandra, you're quite right. Back in July, I guess it was, June, July, shortly after taking office, what we put in place is what I would like to term a soft freeze, right? What we allowed ministries, portfolios, and offices to do was, if the chief officer and the ministers agreed that there was a necessity, they could then petition the deputy governor and show that there was an extraordinary circumstance, and therefore a hiring should happen. Let me give you an example. One area that was allowed additional staffing was the police service. The police service had been and has been at levels similar to when Cayman's population was approximately 50% smaller, right? And so there was a demonstrated need, and there was a need also in some specialist areas. And so those were areas, for example, that was funded. We're confident that there'll not be any material effect, or any effect really that the public would feel on service delivery. What this has caused a number of ministries to do is right now we're having a number of ministries having funding in their budgets to look at innovative ways to deliver services. We simply need more technology and better use of technology across CIG. I use this example all the time. Why is it in 2025 that we shouldn't be able to order our driver's licenses purely online, have it printed, and show up and collect it? Right? Why do we have to have long lines for those sorts of simple services? Right? We can redeploy resources and make much better use of our human capital. And so there are a number of agencies that are looking at how they can better service the public through the use of what is available technology. Like, this isn't cutting edge stuff, Sandra. We have countries right now that, like a kiosk, you can show up, put in all your information, pay, and if you're not taking a new picture, your driver's license, again, I don't want to beat the driver's license example to death, but it is just an example, right, of where we can use technology. There's lots of areas in government that we still have things that are too manual in nature. And if we drive the use of technology, and so I can say that Minister Rankin and his team are doing a very good job right now at looking at not just what our national AI policy should look like, but also assisting other agencies at how to procure services of technology companies to be able to better serve the public. Because that's the other thing. For the most part, not for the most part, when you use technology, it actually gives a better service to the public because then it's much more convenient. You can use and access services so much easier, so much more efficiently. You don't have to get in your car, drive to this place, drive to that place, which all that does is cause more traffic on the road, more use of fuel, more cost in your pocket. And so it brings the cost of government down, ease of access to services down. And so that is what we are doing in a number of areas. I can tell you right now that just yesterday, when I met with the senior leadership team in the ministry, I reminded them we need, as soon as January 1 come, when the new budget is in place, we need to look at how we're actually going to use technology to better serve our students. Because I will be the first one to put my hand up and say that am I happy with where we are with the scholarship application process and the tools that we're using? No, I'm not. I want there to be a better use of technology across our services delivery. I'll give you one area, Sandra, right now as we speak. There's a number of application processes that this might be an example that some people mightn't want to hear, but DFA, right? The old system was purely manual, filling paperwork out, then going in, handing it in. Then you had to have an officer input all that information. Inevitably, there were errors. Inevitably, there would be loss of files. There were frustrations around people saying, oh, well, I've had to submit this 2 and 3 times, because that's the other thing that happens when you don't use technology properly. We're human. A file will get lost. That just, I mean, I'm not trying to make excuses, but I know every one of us in our day-to-day lives will have misplaced a piece of paper. And you start saying, well, where did I put that? And you're looking and looking and looking. That's going to happen irrespective of how careful and cautious government can be. But at the end of it, if we use technology, we can deliver services way more seamlessly, more efficiently and accurately to the public.
We have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller. Question or comment?
Hi, good morning.
Good
To my
morning.
minister, Raleigh.
Morning.
Good morning.
I felt sick this morning when I woke up. I seen on that platform there sitting down, my heart started to beat regular. Very good this morning. I listen, minister, of every speech that you lay out. And I'm so proud of you, watching you grow up, and to see that you're looking after our children, my grandchildren and great grandchildren, and keep the good work up. And I hope I live to come home and look in your face personal. And thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for helping out with the education department. I love you all. Sandy, no good morning for you this morning. I'd write in a special good morning for my minister and leave everyone else out. I'm sorry about that.
All right, my dear, no worries. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Have a good day. All right, that's Miss Lucille joining us from the UK, 936-2626. Good. Oops.
So Sandra,
Good
one of the
morning.
things,
Yes.
oh, you're taking a call?
I was about to grab it. Yes, but you can.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay.
No. Let's get the calls.
All right. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Yes, good morning, Miss Sandra. Good morning, Mr. Anderson.
Ralston, Anglin.
Ralston.
Yes.
What
Good
I
morning.
call you about? I spoke to you, the minister, couple of weeks ago up in Eastern concerning my situation. And you and the premier promised to get back to me and let me know how you all could go about helping me. I explained to you all my situation, what I'm going through. I'm on pension, I'm only getting $300 a month. And that's what I have to live off as a Caymanian. And you all promised to get back to me. All not having heard nothing from no one. So I would like if you all could get back in contact with me and let me know what you all can do to help me. I worked with government for 9.5 years, and I was damaged on the job and still getting no help from government. And you tell me plain and straight they cannot help me with anything. I have the letter to prove it, that they send the letter and tell me so. I was also advised to go and apply for the PFO, which was the Poor Relief Funds, and they turned me down. So I am wondering as a Caymanian, where do I stand? Where do I get help from? Or am I not counted as a Caymanian? Please let me know. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Okay. Thanks very much. Minister, I'm not sure the details here, but yes.
Yeah. So obviously that's a lady that I remember the lady. It was at the public meeting that Minister Rankin held in East End. And yes, it is a situation that we are looking into. And let me just pause to say, one of the things that we have had are a number of people who don't quite reach the 10-year minimum requirement to get the minimum pension. So a policy was set a number of years ago that once you reach 10 years of service within the civil service, we would quote unquote guarantee a minimum amount, a minimum level of pension. And that was because of the situation that was just alluded to, is a lot of times you're 8-9 years in, and in reality, your pension would cause you to not be able to survive, to put it bluntly. How this lady slipped through the cracks on the other services has been a mystery. But not to worry, we will be in touch with you, and we'll get back to you to ensure that your situation is rectified. Because just as you just heard, Susan, we heard, or I don't know if we heard, I think it was a message that came in. There are those who abuse the system. Then unfortunately, there are those who wind up not being able to access the system and get the services that they actually genuinely need, right? And that's another reason why, I'm going to repeat it, if you know someone who's abusing the system, please report it, because the fact is, for every person who's abusing the system, that could cause someone else who is truly deserving to then not get the services that they need given their age, etc. Right? And so,
Absolutely.
but not to worry, caller. I will ensure that we get back to you.
All right. Tartarian also speaking to the use of technology. Now, I know, Minister, I heard you have to go in a few minutes, but I do have here people saying that it can. Tartarian says that's how I got my UK learner's license. It can be easy, mail in, easy as pie. I took the photo in the supermarket kiosk, which was connected to the government, and all I had to do was give them the number. This technology is there, and I was just actually speaking to a civil servant yesterday, because in the media group, everybody was asking for your speech, and I said, yeah, it'd be great if we could have a speech. And they said to me, well, his speech was sort of some last minute changes, we don't have it quite ready yet. And I said, that's okay. I can use my AI tools to get it just like that within a couple seconds. Actually, I just was thinking it'd be easier if they sent it, because I thought they had it ready. So since they didn't have it ready, I'm like, we could have, and this is why, not to toot my own horn, but we accomplish a lot with such a small number of people here in CMR, because I understand a thing or two, maybe just a little bit sometimes, but enough about technology. So we were able to go and pull your speech quickly from once the live stream ended, write up the story, and was way ahead of everybody else having the story up about the budget by hours. I'm just saying, we did it even quicker than GIS is able to get it out to us. So, technology is our friends. And I struggle when I hear people fighting against the technology. When I hear people like, oh, well, we don't want to use AI, we don't want to use this. They're calling down damnation, even on the national ID, and not recognizing that we have to push forward. Yes, there has to be checks and balances in place, but we have to push forward with the technology, because otherwise, we will get left behind. The UK is launching their national ID system, and someone who's there right now, Caymanian, said to me, "Oh, they don't want to sign up for it, because then they're going to be able to track how they use and potentially abuse, not for nothing, but how they use and potentially abuse the systems there, and they're going to make you pay it back if you abuse the system." And I said, not for them. Gonna be running back to Cayman real soon. Someone has a question. How do we report the abuse and ensure that it's confidential, especially when it comes to DFA? Is there a proper reporting protocol in place? Because this is something now, I think, when people report stuff, they need to know that it can be done anonymously, that it's actually going to be actioned, and so on. So do you know for DFA how complaints are lodged and handled?
I don't know off the top of my head, Sandra, but my understanding that there is, what I will do is I will double check with the minister, and if there isn't a tip line, then we need to create one. That's not rocket science, right?
Exactly.
And we need to ensure confidentiality. So I agree with the author completely. But my understanding is that there is a tip line in place. But I will confirm that, and we will make sure we get that to you, Sandra, because we need to have that out there and available to everyone.
Everybody needs to know. Absolutely.
Sandra, I did see a few messages come in.
Yes.
One of the things that we're in the process of doing right now is putting together a summary of all of the proposed new revenue measures, so that we can get those out to the public.
Okay. Because
So
someone
I
was inquiring
want
about
to,
stamp duty, if that was being increased.
right.
Yeah.
Right. And so there is going to be some increases, but it's going to only be on high-end properties, right? But I don't want to get out in front of things. So I did promise my team that we would get everything put together so that it goes out in a comprehensive manner, because we want to be back on next week to ensure that we talk through all of those. But what I can tell the listening public is, we are not proposing any revenue measures that are going to impact the ordinary Caymanian. The fact is, we're increasing lawyer and accountant fees, for example. Those are fees payable by big firms, right? Those are going to be payable by the biggest firms on the island. We're increasing exempted limited partnership fees. Again, that's a financial services product. That isn't something that's going to impact the average Caymanian. So I want to get all those put together comprehensively, so that it gets delivered to the public in a seamless manner, and then we'll be able to have a more fulsome discussion. So that is a little preview, Sandra, but that's what I wanted to come on next week to talk about is talk through all of the revenue measures and show
Mhm.
just how much thought we put in to the budget. Now, let me make a point there, Sandra.
Mhm.
One of the things that was surprising to me was the fact that in 2009 and 10, when we were coming out of the financial meltdown, and the bursting of the bubble of the markets in the United States that have a really negative impact on Cayman. And we were having to get year after year approval from the UK government to implement our budgets because we were running deficits back then. And we did have to borrow for recurrent expenditure. We implemented a wide range of revenue measures, mainly in financial services.
Mhm.
We hadn't touched them since then,
Hmm.
right? We've gone more than a decade, and this is what happens: the population has grown, the services that government has had to deliver has increased because
Mhm.
that just goes hand in hand. If you have more population, the number of level of services just naturally goes up, and so when you simply ride the wave of growth in financial services, because what happened was we implemented new revenue measures and increased revenue measures back then, because I was a part of that administration. We were roundly criticized and said, oh, we're going to kill the goose that laid the golden egg. But what has happened is government revenues have gone from somewhere around 600 million to this year, we're projecting 1.2 in 2026 and 1.3 billion dollars in revenues in 2027. But we paid no attention to ensuring that services and the budget was addressed on a regular basis. Now, I'm not suggesting that every year we go and increase accountant fees, increase limited partnership fees, increase exempted company fees. No, but I don't think we should go over a decade.
Mhm.
We have to
Mhm.
look at what the economy can bear and
Mhm.
actually start to save for the future. Because one of the things that we have not done is, yes, we've had some wildly successful companies and individuals in financial services in particular. Yes, government has yielded a significant 55% of its revenue comes from financial services. But at the same time, we have not put aside any significant sum of money for a rainy day. In fact, right now, the biggest areas that we have as funds that sit there are things like the EPF, the Environmental Protection Fund. But that's a
Mhm.
ring fence fund that is designed for a very, very specific purpose. So we
Mhm.
need to look at our country, see what we can do to keep government costs down,
Mhm.
have efficiencies in government, but at the same time, produce enough revenues so that we can actually start to build up a rainy day fund, right? I I can tell the public, do I feel extremely confident in the budget that we've produced? Yes, I do. Do I believe it's a transparent and honest budget? It
Mhm.
is. But what I can't say to the public is it produces enough revenue so that over the next 10 years, we can say
Mhm.
every year we're going to put aside 10, 15, $20 million so that
Mhm.
we actually have that all important rainy day fund. That blows my mind that a country that has been this successful, that
Mhm.
we've continually not done that. And so
Yes.
what I'm
And we know
hoping
what
for,
happens when you don't save.
that's right.
The next Cat 5 storm, we're going to be in a world of trouble. Can you, I know you have to go, but can we do at least one or two more quick rapid
Absolutely.
fire questions? So this one
Absolutely.
says, if Jamaica can automate the customs process for all persons entering Jamaica, then Cayman has no valid excuses. The majority of the Earth's population advanced with smartphone technology. I learned a long time ago, people always make time and find money for what they want to do. Same applies to learning. This person says anything is going to be done when people report the breaking and abuse of these services. Oftentimes, government gives the impression that they don't care or that they're doing nothing, which prevents future reporting. I guess you can take that on board.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Fair point, Sandra. Absolutely fair point.
Right. Yep. So this one is something that falls under your remit. Can you share the minister's number, as there's some crazy critical issues in a department that needs attention? I've confirmed it's a department that falls under you. So what is the best number for your ministry if someone has a complaint or concern? Because they don't always have to go to the minister. I think this is one of the things I always say, listen, the minister has 24 hours in a day, just like everybody else. You know, if you buck your toe, you don't need to call the minister for every little thing. There are, chief officers, deputy chief officers, reporting lines. There are other people there who that is actually their job to take these issues on board. Is there a
Sandra,
contact
just
number?
very quickly,
Yes.
I'm reminded that the online customs process is a project that is in this budget, and the
Oh.
Minister of Border Control is going to have that as one of their projects for 2026. Because of course,
Okay.
sitting here,
And
I'm not going to
Minister
remember
Border
every
Control is Minister
DaCosta.
DaCosta. Okay.
Yes, yes. So sitting
Very
here, I'm
good.
not going to remember every single thing that we're doing,
Absolutely.
but ultimately, that the government is listening. So that is going to be a project for 2026. So that's yet another impressive type of innovation that we're going to use, because again, it's using technology. I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, Sandra,
Mhm.
but get used to it. For the next 4 years, you're going to hear me pound that drum,
Yep.
because it's so important to service delivery. So important to
All right.
service delivery and
Thank
bringing
you.
costs down and keeping costs control. So for the ministry, there's a wide number of ways in which people reach me, right? So people reach me personally, just directly through email, right? People, of course, also reach me because my cell phone is on Facebook. So of course, I get a lot of text, WhatsApp messages, and then my office, which is at 140 Bolton's Avenue. The other day we missed this, Sandra, and it just hit me.
Mhm.
You had sent me a note to announce where my temporary office is.
Mhm.
I say temporary, Sandra, because as we all know, we have a real estate crisis, and that's another reason you hear me keep pounding the drum that we have to get east-west arterial built. We have to
Mhm.
open up the country. We need more lands. Demand and supply has been so slanted on the demand side. That is, there's so little land available versus what Caymanians need, that people are basically able to make up a price. Literally, people can make up a price, right? And so unless we get more supply to bring down pricing, Caymanians are going to be continually be pushed out of the housing market. The reason I bring that up is we don't have commercial space in West Bay. I'm on a wait list with 2 different shopping centers because they simply don't have any space. And so I wound up in a situation where someone had an apartment becoming available. The work permit holder was going back home, and they called me up and they said, listen, I heard you saying on the radio that you needed a space for the office. So
Mhm.
here you go. You can actually get a unit and convert it temporarily. So that's my temporary spot. I'm looking forward to getting a different office in the next couple of years, or for the next couple of years, not in the next couple of years. I'm hopefully early in 2026 we'll be able to get the facility remodeled and be able to be used as a constituency office. But I'm happy to say the last few Fridays I've been back up in West Bay and have had the pleasure of having a number of people come, not just West Bay North voters, of course,
Mhm.
because people from all over want to see me. I mean, I met with a wonderful young man who is from Prospect, I think he was from, but he wanted to talk about some education and different issues that he wanted some advice on, housing, and so that has been very, very good. Also, Sandra, right now we are working as we speak on a driver's license project, and it's also in the 2026 budget. The good thing about technology, Sandra, is as we
Mhm.
discuss issues, I'm having some of my colleagues and senior civil servants who are listening and reminding me of some of the things that we do have contained in this upcoming 2026, 2027 budget. And so that's another one that we are working on to bring technology to the driver's license process.
Thank you so much, Minister. We're going to let you go. We'll read some additional comments that have come in because people are very, very pleased with what they're hearing. This person says, very refreshing and exciting information being shared this morning. There is a silver lining after all. So the country remains optimistic. Marjorie says, finally, a government that is taking control of our country. What a relief. I told y'all you just needed to do the right thing at the polls, honey child. All right, Minister Anglin, thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you, I think, next week, Friday. The minister has committed to having regular conversations. And I think Friday works best for his schedule. And I noticed that not a single one of you were so engaged with the minister this morning. Not a single one of you reminded me about our squat challenge.
Oh, the squats. So Sandra,
we
I want
won't
to give
torture
a,
you this morning,
I want to
Minister.
give a, I'm going to get up. I'm getting up. Oh,
Oh,
by the way, the thighs were burning for about 5 days. That shows I'm not in great
nice.
shape.
I love it.
I've been losing some weight, but not in great shape.
Yeah.
But Sandra,
Nice.
before we go, it would be remiss of me if I didn't thank all of my colleagues. I said earlier that we came together as a coalition. We prioritized our areas. We got a solid budget for the country that is one that should cause optimism in the country.
Mhm.
But the senior civil servants, I want to thank all of you for all of your efforts, all of the chief officers and CFOs and other persons at all the ministries. I want to pay a special shout out to the Minister of Finance and the budget and treasury teams for all of your hard work, because the truth is, without a great team, yesterday would not have been possible. So I really want to thank all of them. Also, I want to give a special shout out to the Ministry of Heritage, Minister Rankin. Pirates Week is underway. And so from what I can see and from what I'm hearing, this is just a sign of good things to come. We're looking to reintroduce Pirates Week in the way in which Caymanians were used to and loved. Be patient, because I heard a few complaints. Be patient. This is the first year the minister is going to have much more time and his team to plan for next year as well. But there are going to be some wonderful, wonderful activities, Sandra. In fact, I'm going to be making sure that I go see the fireworks tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to the drone show on the 15th. So I encourage people, see what is of interest to you, and let's go out and let us celebrate Cayman. Let us celebrate as Caymanians. I also do want to ensure that we remember all of our veterans. They are passing on. We don't have a lot of them left, but let us honor our veterans. Let us ensure that we observe Remembrance Day this weekend. Buy your poppy. In fact, when I looked on the screen, I realized I forgot my poppy in the office. But buy your poppy and mark the fact that we remember those who gave their lives. World War II may seem like a long time ago, but the impact that war has had on where we are today. I think a lot of times those of us that are younger and didn't have to and wasn't born during those times, we don't often remember or think about on our day-to-day lives how significant those events were. We wouldn't be standing here and sitting here, Sandra, enjoying these freedoms that we take for granted every day. So I just want to thank all of our surviving veterans. I want to thank all of the families of veterans in Cayman and across the world. Caymanians here, Caymanians overseas. I just want to say to you that we remember the service of your family members. We honor them. And so this weekend, let us, those of us who can make it out to Emsley Memorial, to enjoy the Memorial Day service and enjoy. Don't just look at this as a long weekend. Pause on Monday, God's willing, and truly reflect for a minute or two at how blessed we are to have a safe country, a country that has the freedoms that we have afforded to us. And a lot of it is in large measure due to our veterans and those who gave their lives during World War II.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. And on that
So
note,
squat challenge, Sandra, because
squat
listen,
challenge.
somebody said to me, they didn't think. So someone said that they couldn't see me behind the desk, Sandra. Oh, shoot. I'm gonna have to go down lower. So I'm gonna ask our
they were
cameraman in the
they were
studio to help
questioning
me a
if you
little
were
bit.
doing it.
So
No, man.
Can I make it down?
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's looking at the chair. So I'm moving the chair. I'm moving the chair, Sandra. Move the chair. No cheating, right?
Okay.
How much are we gonna do, Sandra?
Yes, we're gonna still do 50. So we're still at 50. So you can do a combination of 50 up and down, or you can do I gotta make you, but you be going so fast, Minister. Damn. Oh my gosh. Well, we're off radio now. So are you counting, Minister? Because boy, you be doing I like to go slow and easy. You're fast and furious. Plain and Straight says a big thank you to Minister Anglin for coming on to talk with us again. You see, you doing it too quick for me. I need to slow down. And then you know what you got to do, Ralston, go down, down, and just hold it.
No. We ain't holding anything today, Sandra. I'm at 30, I think.
Okay, all right. Let me see. I'm gonna go a little bit slow, sir. So Plain and Straight says the fee for gardening, janitorial, car washing, a car rental is still $300 per year. Plain and Straight, is that the work permit fee or business licensing?
That's probably the all-in business license fee.
Because remember, they're not even paying that because the government for a number of years has a what do we call it? Oh Lord, for small businesses where you don't pay your fees at all. And that's been
if you're a micro business.
Or a small business. Yeah. Which has helped a lot.
By 50.
Ooh, it has helped a lot, but it's also meant that
Sandra, I've blown by my 50.
Oh, good.
And
I lost count. I don't even know how many I've done. Well, Gabby says my legs are burning just watching him.
Yeah.
Gabby,
can't say we didn't deliver.
Get up and do some, Gabby. I don't even know how many I did, but at least I did some. But the thing about it, Minister, and even in terms of this, right? I'm feeling it this morning. We have a situation where government is trying to help small Caymanian business owners by waiving this fee. We only pay the filing fee, $75. And then so many people take advantage of it. You know, in the sense that they're taking out business licensing fee because basically they're getting it for free, don't have a real business, and then taking out work permits based on that to get more people here to abuse the system even more.
Sandra, listen, it's an area that we know have been abused, right?
Yeah.
Now there's always this quandary. Do you increase the fees, and then people who legitimately want to start a business and need that assistance up front then find it prohibitive? I do think that the incentives that were put in place, I think it's about a decade ago, we're going to need to have a think. We're going to have to have a think about what the system is. And I think the fact is we need to get data. And so that was a good point, Sandra. In fact, that falls to the Honorable Premier. And that is something that I'm going to have a discussion with him and colleagues about. Get the data, look at the categories, because I think the data will show what areas there's potential abuse.
Yes. Yep.
Now we have long talked about this whole the landscaping, the mobile car washes, etc. And Caymanians have complained about it. So it is an area that I think government has to look at And so thanks for the author of that message. That is one that I'm going to ask, because we need to take a look and see how we can best ensure that those who are genuine and opening a legitimate business have a real opportunity
Yes.
to be able to succeed. Because if you are out there doing things the right way, someone comes along, brings people in, makes them pay for their own work permit, don't take out health insurance, and as soon as they get the work permit, they drop the coverage. Right? I mean,
Yeah,
these are abuses that have long existed. So I
exactly.
think the author, because that is
Mhm.
that's one that needs to have a real look at and a
Yeah.
rethink, especially around some of the categories that are abused.
Yes. And someone said the fee should be waived only if the small business are employing Caymanians. Well, you can't put the cart before the horse. So the problem with that is that you don't know who they're going to employ. They need to get the business license first, and then
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to say, oh, we're going to take your license away because you decided not to employ Caymanians. So that's a little bit challenging to do for a new startup, for new business. But thank you so much, Minister. We do have some other people calling, but we'll take those calls offline. And it's funny because I was actually working on an editorial piece in relation to, again, tying in technology, but the need for us to ensure that we're collating correct information. So I don't know, Minister, if you saw this, but there was an FOI request that basically the court could not fulfill because they're like, oh, it's going to take too many resources. We don't have the information, whatever. And I said, if there was a uniform across the board, standardized set of data sets that was being taken in every single time information was collected, when a ticket is issued, who's the person, what's their nationality, how long have they been driving, there should be a minimum amount of information for the purposes of FOI that is taken in across the entire civil service. We wouldn't have this problem where they can deny an FOI based on, oh, well, this particular department is unable to provide it because we're not collecting it. But that's an editorial I've been working on. I'm going to probably drop that a little bit today. But thank you so much, Minister. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sandra. Staff are in the studio pointing at their watches. So
yes, you got to go.
A lot of appointments, a lot of people to see, but thanks. And I'll be back on next Friday.
Okay.
And the other thing, my bit of homework is T&B fees, certain categories, and reporting mechanisms for abuse. Yep. And what are the big picture, what are the key numbers for people to get a hold of ministries and ministers' offices?
Yes.
So that's my homework for next week.
Absolutely. And we'll keep an eye out for the details on the stamp duty increases and how that's going to work.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you, sir. Have a good weekend.
Okay, thank you.
Happy Remembrance Day as well. All right, folks. So let's take this call. We do have a caller. We'll chat with them. And if you missed your first set of squats, go ahead and do those. Abby says, thank you for engaging the public, Minister. I can tell you what, not everybody is as committed to this type of engagement, but I can tell you that this particular minister is. And we also hope by next week to have Minister Jay on, and we're going to have some others. So we're pushing at our end to get them on the program, because listen, you need to speak directly to them. You, the people, elected them. And I feel like this is, we want y'all here. I rewind. What does one say that they, good morning, TD. I rewind your squats. It was 53. Oh, you counted for me. I did 53 today. Nice. Okay. Thank you so much for that. Caller, good morning. Hello. Hello. Are you there, honey chill?
I'm there. I'm here. I'm everywhere.
Okay.
Morning again. Well, one thing I wanted to say is people don't realize this. And here's another avenue of revenue that our country has completely avoided and not bothered to institute or implement. But every person entering this country on a work permit does not need a visa. Once they have a work permit, you should have to get a visa. Once you get the visa, then you can get you apply for the permit. That should be part of the application process for everybody. That's additional revenue to the public coffers, because you legal-minded as well, Sandra, know that a work permit is not a right to enter a person's country. It's a right to only work in it. Doesn't tell you can come to the airport and get admitted. So we need to fix that in the system big time. The other thing that I also said, and I've been saying it for years, that nobody seems to see my point on this, and maybe it isn't a point, but I'm going to make it anyway. If you're on a work permit in this country, it should be mandatory, not voluntary. It should be as mandatory as you got to pay pension, health insurance, and that is to open a bank account. And every month, your employer submits with your pension. Once you're paying pensions, proof that they paid your wages via EFT, direct deposits, and they went into the bank and deposited it directly into your account or whatever. Nobody should be being paid cash anymore in this country. If you're on a permit, we need to have proper records of those salaries being earned so that proper pensions can be paid, because there are people out here making, for example, $2,000 a month and claiming they only making $1,000 or $1,500 to pay less in pensions, and that's also a defrauding of the system and the law. And we have nobody back up. There's no backup for that, and the only backup for that is a bank account. Even if they go withdraw it back out and give it back to the employer, the mere fact they're paying the full value of the pension on that money. And that way, we're not seeing where people are being deceived as well, and the law is being in contravention of the law. Those are the things that I think needs to be looked into also, and should be considered as imperative for people in this country, employers and employees. Now, the other thing I want to say, with the incentive program that was put in place, when that was put in place, the whole idea behind that incentive trade and business license program was that a lot of Caymanians was unemployed back then. And the government decided they would relax the fees, and you only pay the filing fee. You don't pay the actual trade and business license fee. And that helped a lot of people to get employment and get work, because they started their little micro businesses. They went out into the community and got work and did this and did that. The ones that are actually abusing this are the mass status grants that we gave in 2003. They're the ones that are out there doing that, being deceitful to the system, putting in trade and business licenses. They're being granted, and then they're giving it to people so they can bring in people for work permits depending on the category of business you're in. Now, if you're in construction, gardening, and domestic, you have to submit a Form A. On that Form A, with that work permit, you have to show that you have clients that you're doing business with, that this staff that you're putting in permits for are going to be going to work for. And it's the form is very informative. Go look at the form, Sandra, if you haven't used it before. You got to put down the name of the person, the location of the property, the rotation of that employee at that location. Sometimes it's hard to do that, because I found in cleaning, especially if staff is sick or they had animals in the house or whatever, that particular employee no longer could go back to that property. They were allergic, so you would have to switch them up. So the form needs tweaking, to be honest, or I don't know how they want to tweak it, but it's a bit crazy, because if you put information in there and they come and say, well, we found out that John Brown no longer isn't working at Sandra's house cleaning it every week. And you're going to say, well, this is the reason why. Well, the Form A says he goes there 3 times a week. Yes, it says that, but we had to amend, our business had to amend the rotation of that employee because of his allergies going into a person's house with animals. I'm just saying, there's so many reasons behind that work is not looking at. They just threw the form out, and then they have all of your client information. They don't tell you on that form that information is being protected under the data management or anything. So you're there releasing all your client information on that one form, and how many of them are actually producing those forms with their work permits, because you know that the system does have people in it that will turn a blind eye. That happens often right up in that work. You didn't submit a Form A for the gardening's business or the cleaning business, and nobody looks at you. And it all depends, as always, we know in our community, Sandra, it all depends on how much money you have and what your last name is and the color of your skin. All right, I'm going to cook food. Bye.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Can't hear. Yeah, my apologies. I had myself muted there. I am going to go. I was just reading your comments there from Plain and Straight and Anthony. Plain and Straight says, with regard to work permit holders, we also need to go back to requiring a refundable deposit with government equal to the estimated amount of a one-way ticket back to the work permit holder's country. So maybe that's a change that was made that didn't work. Ay. Anyway, I was saying that I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of walking. I did some walking yesterday. I've got a new walking pad. And so I am going to get that crack-a-lacking. Yes. So I'm going to do that. And thank you so much. Let me just see here. So yeah. Shouldn't be muted anymore. Just refresh. Refresh. We're good. Okay, I got tech support. I'm still on with tech support. Good Lord. So let me go and do that. And then, yeah, today's a day for tech issues, obviously. All right, so let me get on that. You guys have a fantastic day, a fantastic weekend. It is a long holiday weekend. So, of course, I will not be here on Monday, but we'll be back on Tuesday. All right. So I hope you guys, Lord knows I wanted to go away this weekend. I wanted to get on a plane and go somewhere, anywhere, but in particular, Miami. But anybody going to Miami this weekend? Let me know. I need a favor if you're going. But unfortunately, I have projects here that I have to prioritize. So the budget just can't hold a Miami trip at the moment. Not in the budget because we got other stuff going on. And so it is what it is. It's a luxury to be able to get on a plane. And right now, Auntie's budget cannot afford that luxury. Hey, Jill. Thank you, Miss Carrie. Thank you, everybody else, for tuning in. You guys are amazing. Absolutely love you like cook food. And one of the things I love, don't forget, tonight, Pedro Castle, Give Me Story. So head out there tonight, please, and thank you. And yes, one of the things I really, really love, of course, this time of year is the food just starts to get better. We got Pirates Week food, if you know who to go to, them good cooks. Then we got Thanksgiving coming up, both American Thanksgiving and Cayman Thanksgiving. So I'll be eating good those 2 days. And then we got Christmas dinner right around the corner. So this is like my season of food. So that's why I'm starting to walk. I did 20 minutes yesterday. I'm going to aim for at least 20 today, maybe half an hour, but I got my knee brace too. Here's my little knee brace. I put these on. I didn't wear it yesterday, but I'm going to put it on today. And this certainly helps my little knee. And yeah, so we're going to get to moving. And the more you eat, the more you're going to have to move, honey Gia. Ay. All right. Everybody else is good. Bless you all. And thanks again to all of our amazing veterans who made the sacrifice for us to remain free. I just saw the Trump administration released yet another video. Fox News has it up if you want to go and have a look. They released another video of another vessel that they just blew out of the water. And I'm thinking that's great. But I still can't believe that they can release that almost in real time, but they can't release the Epstein files. Have that same level of vigor for the Epstein matter. Children were molested and abused, including by Prince Andrew, who's no longer a prince. So now he's gone back to his regular name, Andrew, whatever, Windsor, Mountbatten, or whatever the frig his name is, AKA child molester, child rapist, having sex with 15 and 16 and 17-year-old children, basically. So yeah, I'm glad that Prince Charles finally dealt with his own brother, something the mother couldn't do because, Andrew was her favorite child. So she tried to put him in the naughty corner. And now the evidence has come out. Have you guys seen this? The evidence have come out that even after he claimed that he never had any communication with, these people, he did with Epstein. So, what a hot mess. Absolutely ridiculous. Really, really, absolutely ridiculous. So guess what? All I'm going to say is good. It's about damn time. And more should go down, including the president of the United States, because y'all can't tell me that he was not in the thick of it with this man. I don't believe that. And if you have nothing to fear, just release all the records and we can look at it for ourselves. But there was emails proving that Andrew is apparently, what's his name? Epstein made a comment that he has found it hard to find someone as sick as himself that has an appetite for what he was into, teens and children, all that kind of bullshit, except the prince. So he was saying that the prince was worse than him. Can you imagine? And then the wife, what was the wife's name again? The red hair one, whatever the hell her name was, Eugene and what's his name, Mummy. Apparently they're all thinking about fleeing from the UK now because everybody is just so disgusted. I watched the documentary as well, Gabby. Everyone is so disgusted. But she was so money hungry, right? And that's what this was all about. They didn't care what Epstein was doing. It just came down to the money. So she was begging Epstein, oh, I'm just in a tidbit of financial trouble. Can you loan me maybe a little Fergie? Yeah, that bitch. Fergie. Oh, can't you just loan me a little $50,000 or $100,000? Knowing that this man's a pedophile all this time. They said that at his time of death, she probably owed him at least $2 million. You see what these people do? And for those of you who have the time and energy for Meghan Markle or Markov, whatever the hell her name is, for Princess Meghan or whatever she's going by these days. And Meghan not done nothing. I mean, nothing as close to what these royals have been doing for how long. But I don't see y'all posting about them bitches and you don't have the energy for them. Don't come to me with nothing about Meghan Markle ever again. Y'all just upset with her because she's black. And heaven forbid she should find herself a white royal. Ew. They're not nobody. You know who they are? Pedophiles, just like other people. So I am glad. And you know what? What needs to happen next is he needs to be arrested and he needs to be charged for some of the stuff that he did. He even requested one of the official protection officers to dig up dirt on this girl. He had her social security number. She just committed suicide early this year. Oh God, how I wish she hadn't done that, because she would finally be able to see, as they say, time longer than rope. The prince has finally been taken down in large part to her. He denied, oh, that photo must be doctored. That's not him. This man sat in front of reporters for years and lied through his teeth. He should be sent to jail. They think he's actually going to run from the UK. Yep. That he's going to get on a plane and run to somewhere where there's no extradition. You can imagine, and get away scot-free. Before he does that, Scotland Yards or whoever is in charge over there needs to arrest his behind, and other people too. The president of the United States of America has a lot to answer to. He is no better. This man has made comments about how he would be with anybody like 12 years is good, 12-year-olds. But I don't see y'all talking about that. Y'all got time to be messaging me foolishness about, oh, you're concerned about Muslims. You better be concerned about the president of the United States, who said he's attracted to 12-year-old children and who looks at his own daughter in a sexual way and won't be kissing up on his own children. Sick motherfucker. Y'all can ignore a whole lot when you're ready. Oh, God, don't get me started. It's Friday, but I'm trying to have a good weekend. Let me try and go walking. Cha. It's disgusting. It is really, really disgusting. These people turned a blind eye to a known pedophile who was in their friend group because of the money that he had and the connections that he had. And even the question of how he got his money and where he got his money from, that's a whole other really, really good question. Like, seriously? Where did the money come from? Because he wasn't this big financier like what people think. So there's a whole slew of questions even around that needs to be explored. Because it looked like he was probably, I gotta put my hair when I go walking. It looked like he was probably laundering money for them seem rich people and helping them get dirty money. Huh? What a hot mess. Yes, honey child, it's absolutely disgusting. Wow. Y'all need to clean it up. Clean it up. He told me he was draining the swamp, but he not draining nothing. He's like king of the swamp. Let's fix it, Jesus. Anyway, what? Okay. Anyway, folks, thank you guys so much. We'll see you on Tuesday morning. Just remember that Monday's a holiday. Please be safe this holiday weekend. We don't need no more tragedy. I mean, literally, we are right around the corner from Christmas, and I would love for us to make it to the 1st of January with no more road fatalities. Okay, y'all need to curtail this foolishness that you're doing on the roadways. Like, seriously. I do have an interview that I'm gonna play. I was hoping to play it during the show, but I wanted to play around with it, the editing a little bit, and I'm no editing pro, so it takes me longer to do certain things in terms of editing. Let me, by show of hands, because we still have 290 of you here. I mean, you're here. Would you like to see the raw interview? I was going to do something more creative with like the background and stuff like that. But if you just want to see the raw interview, so this is a question that was explained further. It's about 23 minutes. And that was answered in relation to planning and the development plan. So let me see, just put yes, you'd like to see it, or no, wait till I put on the background, because I'm basically going to do a green screen background. But if you don't care about that, then we can just play it here. I do need to render it, so I can do that. That's going to take a couple minutes. So just by show of hands, because lots of you are still here, I realize. Would you guys like to see it now? Richard says yes. I mean, sometimes there's no time like the present. Instagram folks, how are y'all feeling? Because this clarifies a point that was made in another media, which is that there was these closed door meetings happening. And I think really Sustainable Cayman made the comment to the Compass, and then the Compass kind of ran with it. But I think there was some misunderstanding in terms of how that process actually works. So we sat down with DCO, that's Deputy Chief Officer Tristan Hides, and he clarified it for us. Well, if you guys want it now, give me a couple seconds. I am here for you. So I'm going to drop the video. Give me 1 second, like I said. Although we're in overtime, I know y'all be ready for some sauce on a Friday anyway. Okay, give me a second. Let me just render it. Okay. All right. So yeah, so this is a question, really clarification. They said, listen, okay. All right. I'm just going to send a little message to the chat groups as well. And this development plan for the country is really important. And I'm glad to see, again, that this government is committed to moving this forward, because I tell you what, it has been talked about for the past 50 years and nothing has been done about it. So it is definitely time that we move the needle. As the minister said, so many things have been on hold and on standby, no fee increases, no this, no that. We just been not really doing the job. And when I say we, I am primarily talking about the elected officials. All right, so raw is best, says Carrie. Listen to her now. Drop it like it's hot, says Richard. All right, that means y'all got to get up and give me some more. Well, somebody else is in the top job, Carrie. So another Caymanian. But give me some more squats then, I say. It's 64% rendering. So why don't we do some more squats while that's rendering? And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my walking pad. And while the video is playing, because this is the idea now, is I spend 2 to 3 hours here with y'all every single day. And I feel like I could be multitasking and walking and stuff while we're doing parts of the show. Not all of it, obviously, but I got to get my steps in. So one way I'm going to do it is I'm going to start, exercising during the show. So I got a walking pad. I'm going to tell you guys about this walking pad, because what I love about this, instead of a traditional treadmill, the walking pad is just really, really like simple. It's not that big. I can, throw it together real fast. It was plug and go. You did 43 already? You go, girl. All right, so let me get my walking pad. Just hold on 1 second for me. Let's play a little commercial or song or something while we do that. And I'm just waiting on this thing to render. Okay, so give me 1 second here. Let's play a little George Jones, her theme song.
You don't know who I am, but I know all about you. I've come to talk to you tonight about the things I've seen you do. I've come to set the record straight. I've come to shine the light on you. Let me introduce myself. I am the cold, hard truth. There is a woman we both know. I think you know the one I mean. She gave her heart and soul to you. You gave her only broken dreams. You say you're not the one to blame for all the heartache she's been through. I say you're nothing but a lie. I'm the cold, hard truth. All your life, that's how it's been. Looking out for number one, taking more than you give, moving on when you're done. With her you could have had it all. A family and love to last. If you had any sense at all, you'd go and beg her to come back.
All righty, let me see here now. Let me check the file. Okay, so the file's ready. All right. So while we're doing that, I'm just going to show you guys. I brought my proper shoes. Somebody yesterday was like, "You're walking in flip-flops. You better put on your proper shoes. That would do your knee now." So, oh Lord. Oh. Yes, honey chow. Y'all getting the raw show footage here today. So I'll put on my little knee sleeve. The thing I like about these sleeves is they give you good support, but it's not like where you can't, you can move the knee like normal. Just gives you a little bit of support. Let me back up and show you. I need to install another secondary camera, but hold on. Let me switch to my wireless microphone. I did do this last night. So we could walk and talk at the same time. Mic check, mic check. All right, I think you guys, can you hear me? Everybody can hear me? Let me see if I can hear myself. Oh, getting too close. Oh, can y'all hear me okay? Yeah, you can hear me. All right, so we are wireless. You guys can hear me, right? Everybody can hear me okay? Okay. So, why is that button red? Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. I can hear myself, so I think I'm okay. Yes, we can. Thank you so much, Lady S. All right, so completely wireless. So let me show you. I'm going to pull up the video here in a second that we're going to be watching together. I got to plug in. I need I'm just using this little extension cable for now, but honestly, I need oh, I got this backwards. Hold on. I got to turn it around, but I want to show you the size of this. I got my shoes and socks. So we're ready to go with our walking shoes. But let me show you the size of this. It's a walking pad. So it's not like a full treadmill, but look at how easy. This is it. That's it. So you can move it. You can put it, it's not that big. You can store it underneath the bed and everything. But this is an easy way to get your steps in. So let me turn it the right way, which is this way. And then you can even do incline on it. It comes with a smart app. So, put this on your Christmas list. Tell your friends and husbands and best friends and everybody, you need one of these for Christmas. Because when you got to walk in a small space, this will do the trick. So on the phone, I'm going to turn on the app where I can increase the speed. It's counting my calories and all that good stuff. So while I play the interview regarding the development plan, I'm going to walk at the same time. So you can join me. Maybe you don't have this device, but you can walk in place. There's lots of ways to get in those steps, honey chow. So, put on good shoes though, because as someone who has foot problems and now knee problems, I can tell you these are my little Nike running shoes. I mean, not running, but we're walking. So I'm going to put these on and then we're going to get to walking. All right, you guys ready? Hey, Shaka. Shaka says, yep. This is modern technology when it comes to exercising. There's so many little modifications and stuff that you can use. Poor Zeus sitting here looking at me like, what on earth? I need to get Zeus a treadmill. I bet you I could teach him to walk on this one. Okay, ready? All right, so we're gonna open up the app. And then it says yesterday I did 17 minutes. No, I did 20 minutes yesterday. And then they have different walking challenges because this one's also a vibrating pad as well. So I haven't gotten that far yet, honey Jill. But let me see now. So I am going to, it's connected to Bluetooth and everything. Yeah. So I'm going to start a workout. And Okay. All right, the minister has asked to see it first. Government, they like to see these things, but I was telling him we're about to play it. I mean, it was seen when it was interviewed because we don't really do any editing in terms of the content. We just put the clips together. So in a way, technically it's already been seen, but hold on. That means I have got to move it in a way that they can see it, which means moving it over to Dropbox. So give me 1 second here. All right, let me copy this. Copy, and then we've got to put it in Dropbox somewhere. Okay, let me create a new folder. These things take. All right, you guys can hear me again. Apparently this is dead. I thought this was fully charged yesterday. How is this dying so quickly? Huh. Okay, I think you guys can hear me again. Yeah, you can hear me again. Yeah, this I have to plug it in. It's in charge. Oh my gosh. What a mess. Okay, let's go ahead and start the video. Yeah, it's dead already. But all right, so this is like what the little app looks like. It's hard to see. So, okay. And then we are going to increase the speed. So right now it's at 0.2 miles per hour. Normally I increase it to, okay, so I have it turned on. And I increase it to around 2 miles. Somebody said they saw me the other day. They're like, I saw you and you're a fast walker. Well, I don't think the 2 miles is really fast. But let me just tie my shoestrings. I noticed I hadn't tied those. So, all right, let me do that. And then I'm going to pull up the video. Because, yes, honey child. Y'all going to see Auntie take off this 50 pounds if it kills me. All right. I'm years behind the plan, but we are going to get it done. One way or the other. All right, honey child. Okay, so we are ready to start walking. And I'm going to pull it back just a little bit so you guys can see. Okay, so I still need to increase the speeds. There we go. You hear that? You hear the motor going, woo! Oh no, that's too fast. Somehow went up to almost 3 miles per hour. Let's take it back down to 2 miles per hour. So for the duration of this interview, I will be walking. You guys ready? Yes. Mr. Amelia says yes. You can drop mine off for Christmas gift. All right, folks, here we go. So we're sitting down this afternoon with Mr. Tristan Hides, who's the Deputy Chief Officer with responsibility for planning and lands falling under the Ministry of Planning. And we just wanted to add some clarity to what is a little confusing. There's been some discussion in the community and some media coverage over some alleged, secret meetings. So we need to just understand contextually what this is all about. Tristan, thank you so much for taking the opportunity to sit down and chat with us.
Thank you.
I feel like this is definitely your first time doing a CMR interview, and I promise that we don't bite.
It definitely is. Thank you.
So our audience will no doubt be very, very pleased to hear from you, because you've got a lot of expertise when it comes to planning and lands, right? So before we get into the specifics of this question, this point of clarity that we're going to hopefully lend some, just additional detail to, tell us exactly, as DCO, Deputy Chief Officer for Planning and Lands, what do you do? What falls under your responsibility?
It's quite broad. It has to do with the whole subject of lands. So we're talking about from transfers, leases, the Roads Act has a little bit in there. And then on the planning side, planning and development, which is obviously falls under the gamut of planning. But it is again quite broad, dealing anything from buildings, heights and development to zones, and a lot of policy on areas such as building control and what can be approved and should be approved, but policy development.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you so much for that, because, sometimes people just don't know within the civil service who's responsible for what, and they don't know exactly what plan and lands covers. So that's fantastic. Sounds like you got a lot of responsibility, I'll be honest, because, just lands alone is a whole, responsibility there that runs the gamut. But I'm happy that you've taken the time to sit down with us today and just go over a point of clarification, because there's been a lot, especially when it comes to planning. I think that's just one of those hot button topics for sure, right?
Right.
And people just see the word development plan or planning in a headline, and it can really garnish a lot of negativity. And so sometimes things are not quite accurate, or they require further explanation. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to just sort of clarify a few things that are in circulation. So when we talk about a closed door tribunal hearing on this long-awaited development plan, so let's back up for a little bit. The development plan that we have currently dates back how long? It's been a while.
1997.
Wow.
Yes.
So one of the criticisms that we know from, past governments is that we need to move the needle, because that's a really long time, right?
Right.
So we need a new and updated development plan. The country has changed, the world has changed. And so it appears that under Minister, the Honorable J. Ebanks, there is a real desire this time to amend that and to make some changes. So that process began when, would you say?
In earnest, a few years ago, about 2 years ago. And it included, what's called area plans. So those area, I think one of the reasons from our research that sort of stagnated the whole development plan migration was the fact that, we were dealing with the entire islands actually. And as a result, you had sort of different opinions on different areas. So we got together and thought of creating what's called area plans. There are 11 of them. So instead of everybody concentrating on the entire island,
right,
they actually now can look at their section of the island, as it were, and focus on that.
So breaking it down makes it more manageable then.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good idea. And to give us a, sort of a context of what would be in a development plan, how comprehensive is it?
So it's going to be very comprehensive. But I want to back up a little bit at the same time, because what we're dealing with here is what's called the planning statement. So we've still got a ways to go in terms of the development plan and the
Right.
area plans. So this planning statement, look at it as if it's a mission statement or terms of reference, as it were,
Okay.
for the development plan. But it is actually a part of the law. It's set out in law as part and parcel of what to do in creating a development plan.
Right. So let's talk about this, because I think this is very important. So when it comes to creating a development plan, your actions, even in terms of creating that, are dictated by law.
Correct.
Yes. And what legislation is that?
The Development Planning Act.
So there's an actual act called the Development Planning Act.
Yes.
Very good. And so that act, anytime you want to make changes to an existing development plan, will guide you and give you perimeters of what you can and cannot do.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. All right. So let's just break it down perhaps a little bit further. This Plan Cayman project, is that the project name then?
Yeah. So
For this? Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. So we termed it as Plan Cayman, or coined it as Plan Cayman. And it was the 3 islands. So we look at the sister islands, we look at Grand Cayman, 11 area plans. There are certain areas that are considered quite sensitive. So like the 7 Mile Beach Peninsula,
Right.
Georgetown, out east, etc. Now, we have named them, for instance, 7 Mile Beach area, wetland area, etc. But they could be named really 1 through 11. I mean,
Right.
there's no real, we named them. And
Yeah.
so actually in one of the respondents of this was, why did you name them what we named them? And so we have actually given that to the tribunal to actually reconsider.
Right. So it's just for identification purposes.
Right, that's
yeah.
all.
There's no significance
Yeah,
other than
absolutely.
identifying it. And it makes sense if you give it a name that people can relate to, because if you say 7 Mile Beach, people kind of know what quadrant of the island you're talking about as opposed to Area 11.
Correct.
Yeah. Makes logical sense. All right. So the development plan, coined Plan Cayman project, is going to be looking at a number of different things. So everything from building heights, density, balance between conservation and construction, which we know is a big concern to a lot of people in the community. So you said you're still in the early stages of Plan Cayman?
Right. So this is the mission statement for which it guides the area plans themselves. So last year and earlier this year, we had some public consultations on this and on basically the 5 broad topics within that planning statement. So it had to do with the background, challenges, the planning zones, overlay zones, which is like, for instance, Cayman Bay would be considered a overlay zone. It's called a PAD, a Planned Area Development.
Right.
And then some other considerations and challenges. So within each one of them, we then looked at a little bit deeper into sustainability, the environment, building heights, building setbacks, beach setbacks. All of that is covered. But this first phase is just the planning statement that kind of sets the tune for everything.
Right. Okay. And you've got a tribunal. Tell us a little bit about the tribunal and what their responsibility will be. So it's been recently set up, you would say?
Correct. So they were recently set up. Again, that is through law, and they then have a regulation. It's called zones. It's called rules. So that tribunal has a number of rules which govern them and how they should function, including who should appear before them. And I think there is a little bit of ambiguity in it, but it's not that ambiguous. It does clearly say the tribunal should hear from the what's called the respondents, which are the people that obviously responded to our consultation.
Right. Yes.
And also then the authority itself, and then any other person or agency that that the tribunal sees appropriate. So that's where the ambiguity is. But you know, from this perspective, it's not another broad consultation. We've already done that section, and people have already consulted.
Right.
We got back a ton of respondents.
Yeah.
Of that, I think 107 were interested. Of that, 36 have said yes, I'll appear before the tribunal. So we've notified everybody. We've given them, again, as set out in the rules. We have to give them a 28-day notice. So we emailed everyone because we obviously have all their contact information.
Right.
And of that, 36 have said yes, we will come to speak to the tribunal. And it's really based on, again, what they have commented on already. So it's not about coming up with new rules or new ideas. That, again, can come later on in the next round of consultation. But this round, it's just dealing with, for instance, the one I gave you earlier. I don't like the names of the area plans. Okay, let's speak to that.
Right. So the tribunal head is Sherry Bodden-Cohen. We all know that Ms. Sherry is an attorney at law. So no doubt she is, well equipped professionally to chair that. So the number of people then that are sitting on the tribunal.
So there are 5 individuals, chairman, a deputy chairman, and 3 others, and one of which have to be from Cayman Brac, or the sister islands, I should say. So, and they have began their process. They've met a number of times now. They had to set out sort of the rules by which they're going to meet and here, and they're actually moving forward.
Right. So we know that they began October 23rd, and every 2 weeks they're slated to meet. And essentially they have some 2,500 submissions from individuals, community organizations, NPOs, that were filed during that initial 60-day period following the election, right? Now, this is where it gets, for lack of a better term, controversial, because there's been an article and some public discourse that process with the tribunal is being held in secrecy. How do you respond to that?
It's not in secrecy at all. I think it's according to the rules that were in law, and you've got these individuals that would like some confidentiality. Sometimes, that's why the consultation process was the way it was, where you could submit it, and after the town hall meetings, and then from that, then we take those and we hear them, and we ask those individuals if they can come and see us or see them. That then gives the person the confidence to speak to the tribunal confidently, without any fear of, even a neighbor, for instance, saying, I don't want that, or, what he said, she said, etc. Minutes will be taken. Again, we don't, I think how the rules dictate the minutes, it's not verbatim, but it is general minutes that will again guide the tribunal on creating a report.
Okay, so this is a secondary step. If we, again, just explaining it so that people can fully understand. You have a broader consultation. People made submissions at that time. And now this is more of a one-on-one. Come and sit down and talk to us. Explain what you meant by this. Perhaps those people have additional questions themselves, or they want to add some clarity to why they made certain recommendations or suggestions. This is their opportunity now to sit down with this tribunal to give that feedback.
Correct.
Yes.
And remember, out of that, only 36 have said, yes, I want to do that.
Out of 2,300.
Out of that, yes. Then
Wow. Or 2,500.
25,
Wow.
it went down to 107. And from 107, only 36 have actually said, yes, I actually want to appear before you.
Yeah.
The others said, no, my comment was what my comment is. You can understand it. Take it for what it is.
So they don't need anything further.
Correct.
Right. So they just have to now go through those 36
Correct.
individuals.
Right.
Okay. All right. Very, very interesting.
From that, they will create a report. That report then goes back to the Central Planning Authority, along with the consultation notes, and then the CPA will decide, okay, yes, whatever the comment was, yes, that should be considered, that shouldn't be considered, etc. And then that will be forwarded on to Cabinet and on to Parliament for their ratification. So again, if one of the comments, for the sake of talking, was, I don't like the names of the area plans, and I want to name them after something else, I don't know, historic Caymanians, for instance, that's for the sake of talking, and the CPA considers that a valid idea, they will then send it on to onto the Cabinet and Parliament will then make the decision, okay, we agree these should be named after, or no, what they're named now is good enough.
All right. So once this tribunal completes their production of this report of inquiry to Cabinet, is that tribunal then dissolved?
Not entirely, no.
Okay.
Because there are further steps after this
Okay.
when it comes to the area plans themselves. So the process sort of repeats itself again further down into the line and into the years.
All right. So just to be clear, they're not hiding behind any cloak of secrecy. There's nothing suspicious that's going on.
None whatsoever.
And in fact, the law speaks to this is how this particular portion of the process should operate.
Correct.
Yeah. So no one is trying any fancy, funny business as such.
I mean, just for the sake of talking,
Yes.
the appeals, the rules in the appeals says under Section 5, the persons entitled to appear at an inquiry are the authority, the board, C, any other public authority or any such person or body as have made objections or representations in writing in relation to the matters in issue before the tribunal within a period specified in the law, which is the 20 under the consultation and the 28 days, and then any public authority, person or body whom the tribunal invites to appear before it.
And
So
that's pretty much it.
that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And again, so that's put in there. So for instance, there may be a comment, and rest we don't know what those comments are. Planning has taken those comments, and they have compiled them in the order of whatever section it related to in the statement. They've given it to the, just for the sake of being organized and to help the tribunal. The tribunal itself has then have them and look over them. But from our perspective, the comments are what the comments are. And, if let's say there was an issue about, I don't know, traffic or building heights or something, and the tribunal wanted to hear some expertise on the matter from someone,
Right.
they could invite someone to come before them and hear it.
Okay.
That's really it.
Yes. And it seems like this, one of the sort of advocacy environmental groups, they were questioning why it was being held in private. And again, it's simply prescribed in the law that that's how the process works. But then we move on then to further public consultation
Correct.
yet again.
Correct. So once this is done and the planning statement is sent to the Parliament, then we kick off the area plans themselves. We still have to lay out the schedule for that, whether they happen one at a time, whether they happen 4 at a time. We set up consultations for that. Again, we do consultations through obviously the media, through town hall meetings, just like the last time, and through electronic means where people can submit their comments anonymously, and so we can hear them again. And again, it gives a little bit of confidentiality and credibility to the actual process where, I mean, Cayman is very small, so John might want to know what Frank to know his neighbor, what he's saying about it. He may want a tall fence or a short fence or, whatever. And those things, people should actually have the confidence to know that the tribunal is actually hearing that in confidence from that perspective.
Right. So it gives people the opportunity to do both.
Yeah.
If you want to show up in a public format and present,
Correct.
your opinions or submissions publicly, you can do that. But then this aspect of it, if you want further, one-on-one appearance with the actual tribunal, you can have that as well.
Correct.
Okay. I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward. So, how then, once this tribunal has completed their part and they present that report to cabinet, how long between that and the next phase of public consultation do you think will pass?
That's a good question. Hopefully not too long. We're really trying to wrap up the consultations this year. I think I don't like to say it, but I got a minister that wants to press gas, so I think maybe early January to wrap it all in and send it down to Parliament. Obviously, it takes time to go down to Parliament and have for again another consultation period down there before it's actually tabled at Parliament. But once it's tabled at Parliament and made into part of the Act, then I think we're off and running.
Yeah. And this coalition government has committed through its strategic policy statement to make the development plan come to life, because
Correct.
It's something that has been talked about for many, many years.
Correct. For too
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
And actually, not just talked about, it has had attempts at starting it. Right? It has always started and spotted out a couple of times, 2-3 times to be honest.
Yeah. So see it through to completion
Let's
this
see
time.
it through, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, how we designed the process, it was really so that it will be a continuous process. So the 11, once we've finished the 11 area plans, we will just literally start the process over again, because we recognize that we can't do all 11 one time.
Right.
So we suspect that that'll probably take maybe between 2 and 4 years. So hopefully before the end of this government term, we can start the process all over again, because obviously that's part of why some people feel a little bit blighted about the planning rules and regulations in the first place, because again, such a big gap has appeared between that time, right, 97 and 2025 or
Right.
2026. So, development's a fast-moving thing that actually requires constant change.
Absolutely. So this will be more of a breathing, living document that is subject to being constantly reviewed and updated.
Spot on, correct.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with us and having this conversation, because I think it's added a degree of clarity about how the process will work around the development plan. Folks, we've been talking to Mr. Tristan Hides. He's the Deputy Chief Officer responsible for planning and lands. And I'm sure this is his first appearance, but I am sure it is not going to be his last.
Thank you.
All right, folks. So there we go. I have completed my walking. That was about 20 minutes worth of walking that I squeezed in. And this is what we're going to start doing here. Finding a way to squeeze it in, because I have every excuse in the book now why I can't walk. So no more excuses with this nifty pad, because I can pull it into the office really, really easily. So I basically just did 20 minutes and I can feel my little heart beating, Shell. Yes, I can feel it. And so I am going to, the eventual goal is to be able to do at least an hour a day of additional walking. And that is, of course, outside of like trying to get my regular steps in and stuff as well. Right. So this is not an excuse to sit the rest of the 8 hours a day. No, this is like get in the walking and still move as much as possible, still do our squats and everything else. So I've gotten serious now. As y'all can see, I kind of wasted the last 2 years talking about 50 by 50. And so now it's going to have to be 53 by 53, honey child. So, all right. I'm wishing you guys an absolutely lovely weekend. Yes, I am going to get another phone. I'm going to mount another phone in here for my like additional camera so that we can have some other coverage, because you can't see me right now with the regular camera. So I think I need at least another little camera in here. So I'm going to look at my options. I know I've got one in a drawer somewhere. So we'll do that. Until Tuesday, please be safe. Okay, I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Bye for now. Have a beautiful weekend.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.